44-year-old parcel handler Patty Marr is suing her ex-boyfriend, 37-year-old factory worker James Brown, for a series of unpaid loans. James says the money wasn't a loan until they broke up.
Order. All rise.
Somebody annoying you this morning?
No, not really. Your Honor, this is case number 73 on the count in the matter of Marr versus Brown. Parties have been sworn in. Judge, you may be seated. Folks, have seats, please.
Ms. Marr, according to your complaint, you and the defendant met on the internet?
That's correct.
And began a relationship that lasted a relatively short period of time. During that time, it is your claim that you made loans to him well in excess of $5,000.
That's correct, Your Honor.
The relationship is over, you want your money. The defendant says that he made no promise to return anything that you gave him, that everything that you bought or gave him were just that, gifts, right?
Correct.
Give me the date when, after you met him on the internet, you met in person.
March 20th of 2000.
And how long did the relationship last?
Up through February 27th of this year.
When was the first loan that you made to him?
May of 2000.
Tell me the circumstances surrounding that.
At that time, he would tell me how stressed he was and he needed money for bills, about $500, and he wanted it in cash, and I did that for him.
Where were you when the conversation took place?
On the phone, late at night.
He said, you said?
He just said he was behind in bills. He didn't know what he was going to do. You know, he was very stressed. And when he gets stressed, Your Honor, he gets chest pains. And
so you said what?
I said, I'll be happy to loan you the money till you can get on your feet, and it was definitely a loan.
You didn't say to him it's definitely a loan. I just want you to tell me what you said to him.
I said, how much would it take to catch you up in your bills?
That sounds right. That sounds like something you might say to him. How much will it take? And he said $500? Mm-hmm. Is that right?
No, Your Honor.
Okay. You say he told you it would be about $500. Mm-hmm. And what did you say?
I said, I'll be happy to get you on your feet.
Okay. That sounds better. Not probably quite accurate. I'll be happy to help you. Or that wouldn't be a problem. I can help you with that. Is that what you said to him?
I will help you out until you can get on your feet. He was unemployed at the time.
Okay. So you said, I'll help you out until you get on your feet.
Mm-hmm. Which he never did, in my opinion.
Right?
Pardon me?
You said, I'll help you out until you get on your feet. Is that a loan?
Yes.
Yes, that's a loan, perhaps, if he ever gets on his feet.
Well, he says he's broke, but
then
I know
he's
different.
Not on his feet.
Well, he is employed now.
Not on his feet.
That's a matter of opinion.
I understand that. That's not smart of you. All right. So when was the next time you claimed you gave him money?
Would you like to see?
I don't want to see.
Okay.
Listen
to
me.
There was tons of times, and the reason I just kept doing it is because he would tell me he had a terminal illness, he had a year to live. He faked heart attacks, and he would threaten to rob a convenience store, and I would panic and think, you can't do that. That's immoral. That's against the law. What can I do so you're not so stressed? He had heart attacks. That is how my husband died. I was just totally worked up.
Not true, Your Honor.
I have proof.
Just a second.
My son here, he has witnessed these things that I have said.
Listen to me. I want you to calm down
Okay.
and calmly tell me the next time you gave him cash. When was it?
It was in October. He had just moved to a different city.
Tell me about the conversation that you had with him. He moved?
I had spent a few days prior to that, and he never brought it up. The minute I get home from the weekend, he says how stressed he is, he's having chest pain, and that he's behind on some bills, and he needed to get them paid. There was utilities, the water was going to be shut off, his cell phone was going to be shut off, no phone, he wouldn't be able to come and call me. So
what did you say?
I said, what do you need? Why didn't you tell me when I was there?
Okay, and what did he say he needed?
About $600.
You have proof?
Yes, I do.
Can I see it?
Yes, ma'am. Well, let me look at my list here.
The first money in May of 2000, you gave him in cash.
That's correct, Your Honor. I have proof that it came out of my savings and cashier's check, that it went directly to him.
I want to know the next cash item that you gave to him.
There's always something, prescriptions.
No, cash.
I made cash deposits right into his checking account. And I have 3 times I did that in July and August. It was right after his back surgery. He couldn't work. He gave me the same old sob story. And I have all that proof right here, Your Honor.
Let me see it.
And that totaled $1,400 in 3 deposits.
I'd like to see proof of that.
Thank you, Bert.
All right, when was the next cash that you gave to him?
At the end of the year, $400. I have the withdrawals, and I gave him the cash.
That doesn't prove anything. You just withdrew $400, but it doesn't show that it was transferred into his checking account. Is that right?
He didn't have a checking account in town.
Yes, I did.
I gave it
Whatever.
right to him because he came down to see me, and the only way he could come down to see me is if he rented a car, and so that's why I gave him $400.
All right.
He would constantly give me these stories that I would...
Miss Marr, if you're constantly giving you stories, then you say to him, after the second time he gives you a story, you say to him, adios, goodbye.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Patty Marr claims ex-boyfriend James Brown conned her out of money by playing on her sympathy. Patty says he faked a heart condition and a life-threatening illness.
Your story is, and I read your complaint, that your husband had died of a heart attack, that you met him, that you were very vulnerable, that he appeared very, very nice person, that he...
But he manipulated me.
Well, you're a grown-up lady.
But I was grieving at the time.
You're a grown-up lady.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, so he took advantage of you.
Yes, by faking heart attacks, by threatening to commit suicide. I would be on the phone for hours.
Well, that would have saved you a couple of bucks if he committed suicide. You know, there comes a point when you say, listen, you got to do what you got to do.
But I cared for him. I loved him.
What?
I cared for him, and I loved him, and I believed, and I trusted everything he told me. He had me going all the time.
I got the picture. This is not a hard picture. This is a picture that I see time and time and time again. I have some money that she can establish she gave to you.
Yes, Your Honor.
I'm not talking about buying you a new tire or buying you prescriptions or paying for your cell phone bill. I'm talking about cash money.
Yes, Your Honor. This is my current...
I don't care about your current. I care about the then.
But Patty had made statements that she wanted to talk to her, and she told...
Just pay attention to me.
Okay.
I run the show. And if you have a heart attack here, we'll make sure, very, very sure, sir, that you get out the door so you don't interfere with the rest of my calendar. Do you understand?
Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am.
Do you understand?
Yes.
She gave you cash. She wrote you checks. She deposited cash in your account. Is that true? Is this proof here that I have accurate?
Yes, it is, but
Perfect.
there is...
No.
No. Your Honor.
I'll ask the next question. Did you repay her in cash for any of this money? $500, $600, and $1,400. Did you repay her for any of that?
If she wanted me to come down and see her, why would I repay her when she wanted me to come down and see her?
The
That's why
answer
she
is
was
either
telling me.
yes or no.
No, I told her there was never no talk about repaying her.
I'm asking you a question. Did you pay her back this money?
No.
You acknowledge that she gave you the money.
Yes, Your Honor.
Perfect. Now, are you currently under the care of a cardiologist?
No, Your Honor.
Did you at any time indicate to the plaintiff that you had a heart condition?
I do have a heart
The answer
problem.
is either yes or no.
Yes.
You did. And did you at any time tell the plaintiff that you were stressed financially?
Yeah, I was stressed financially, yes.
And after you told her that you were stressed financially, she gave you some money?
Yeah, she said, I'll help you out, here's a gift, you know. And I said, I can't afford to repay you. She knew I could not afford to repay her.
Why can't you afford to repay her?
I was unemployed, Your Honor, raising...
Why were you unemployed?
Because I had had back surgery and
A lot of people
surgery.
have back surgery. When did you have back surgery?
June of last year.
Where had you been working before that time, sir?
I was working part-time at Walmart.
Part-time at Walmart? How old are you?
37.
Why were you working part-time at Walmart? What's wrong with you?
I had 2 stomach surgeries.
2 stomach surgeries for what?
Stomach, what was polyps, cancer.
You know, I doubt that. When was the last time you held a full-time job?
2 years ago. Well, actually, last year. The year before, it was 99.
Con artist. Are you the current girlfriend? Step up here. When did you meet Sir Lancelot?
I met him in February.
You met him in February?
2001.
Can't be without a meal check. What kind of work do you do?
I'm an internet customer service for Northwest Airlines.
How much do you earn annually?
Oh, I don't know, probably 25,000.
And what's Prince Charming doing?
He's working full-time. He
Where?
has been since I've known him.
Where?
We was at Minn Kota, and now he's at, they make trusts.
So he has a nice job?
Yes,
Good, he makes good money?
yes.
Perfect. You owe $2,500, judgment for the plaintiff, that's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
I had spoke with Patty on the phone, and she basically said if she gave him more money, he would come back, and she was addicted to
He
it.
faked 2 heart attacks in my home with my son present.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Hansen versus Boren. Step forward, please.
43-year-old census taker Maria Hansen is suing 40-year-old gardener Michael Boren for assaulting her with a garden hose. Maria says the attack occurred when she tried to collect his census form.
Miss Hanson, your complaint is that while you were performing your duties as a census taker, you entered the defendant's home, and while trying to get the information from him that is required in the census, he assaulted you with a garden hose.
Exactly.
When did you go to his house?
May 2nd of last year, and it was a little after 8, maybe 8:15.
In the morning or
in the evening? However, the lights were completely on in the house. So at that point, I decided, you know, fine, if they're up, I'll do their census.
How
If
long
not,
had you
I
been
won't.
working as a census taker?
But this was my 2nd day on the job.
Did you receive any training?
Yes, we had about a week's worth of training.
Were you told as part of your training that if someone decides that they don't want to give you the information, you just leave?
No.
What happens if someone does not wish to cooperate with the taking of the census?
Well, if they slam the door, you just leave. However, by law, everybody, including everybody from the president on down in this country, has to complete a census form.
Okay.
He
So-
already had received one form in the
Just-
mail, which he didn't complete,
Who was that, the defendant?
the defendant.
So you ring the bell,
Yes?
and this is a private residence?
Yes, I believe the door was actually open and the TV was on.
What was the next thing that happened?
Well, the defendant got up and he said, and I will quote, well, maybe I shouldn't in court.
No, you have to tell me
Okay.
exactly what he said.
All right, see that sign? It says no soliciting. Get off my porch.
Now, after he made that statement to you, what did you do?
I said, my name is Maria Hansen. I'm here from the census. I'm here to help you complete your census form.
And what did he say?
Get off my porch.
Okay, and so what did you do?
Then at that point, he walked out of the house.
And you were standing, but you were
I
standing.
was standing on the porch. And I started to fill out a form that we were given that explains, you know, sorry we missed you. You know, we're census, please call us back. We'll set up a time to interview you, blah, 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 blah,
So
blah.
he walked out the door, and what did he do?
Well, as I was filling out my form that I intended to leave on the door, but I did not, he was gathering up his garden hose and turning it on.
So
and
what did he
still
do?
screaming obscenities.
Just a minute. So he went to he picked up his garden hose that was in the front yard,
Right.
and
Turned it on. And as I decided to get out of there fast, because it looked like he was going to hose me down, he did.
if he, you, out. Good. All right, Mr. Borm, now let me hear your version of what happened, sir. Look at me, don't look at her.
I'd say closer to 8:30. I'm minding my own business, private residence, watching television, getting a little late.
Look at me.
There was a knock on the door. I don't have a doorbell. I went to the door, opened the door, a tiny bit, screen door closed, and I said, Now, she might have confused that I called her name. What I did, I told her in no uncertain terms, you're not welcome here. Get off the property. No questions asked. Leave.
Did you give her any opportunity before you slammed the door or told her to get off the property to explain what she was doing there, sir? The answer is either yes or no.
No.
What I'm going to ask you, sir, is unless you have some severe psychiatric history of which I am not aware, why would you not let this lady explain to you? I mean, she doesn't look like a psychotic person. Why wouldn't you let her explain to you what she was doing knocking at your door at 8:30 at night?
I have no soliciting signs. If
No,
somebody...
that's not my question. This lady does not look like an axe murderer.
No, ma'am.
Why would you not at least let her explain to you what she was doing there before you told her, on no uncertain terms, according to you, to get off your property?
You're right, ma'am.
Good. Then, since I am right,
I was
sir,
unreasonable,
since
ma'am.
I am right, sir, I know I'm right, and I know that your actions on that day were totally inappropriate. The fact that you may have no solicitation signs on your property doesn't preclude you from being part of the human race. And lady came to your home. She could have just as easily come to your home for the purpose of requesting assistance because somebody was injured. She came to your home not to solicit to sell you a vacuum cleaner or a 36-piece set of Tupperware. She came to your home for the purpose of completing a census, which I am sure you received in the mail and threw away, at least once, because that's why she was responding to your location. Your response to that was to assault her. The law precludes you from doing that. Now, Ms. Hanson,
Yes.
suing the defendant for $5,000, and I think that that's an inappropriate amount.
Okay.
You weren't injured, you were humiliated, and you were frightened.
I did suffer from depression afterwards, and I do have a note from my therapist about that.
How long have you been seeing a therapist?
A couple of years I've been on antidepressants.
Okay, so you were depressed before, you were depressed after. This certainly didn't help your depression, unless you go home afterwards and say, listen, I just ran into somebody who's even in worse shape than I am, right? You know, which is something that I would have said, yeah, guy's even worse shape than I am because, you know, at least I can hold it together.
Well,
so you got to have a sense of humor about that. But I believe that your pride, and the fact that he did act in an inappropriate way, there has to be a statement.
absolutely.
Okay, judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $1,000. Thank you very much. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out. Your Honor, this is case number 131 on the calendar in the matter of Wishner versus Collazo. Parties have been sworn in. Judge, you may be seated. Sir, have a seat.
Ms. Wishner, your claim is that the defendant assaulted you in a bar. You claim that she assaulted you both inside of the bar and outside of the bar later in the parking lot. Did you know her before this evening?
No, ma'am.
You had never known her before December 13th?
Yes.
Never spoken to her before?
Never.
Okay. So why don't you tell me about at least your version of what happened that evening?
Several friends of mine, we all decided that we would meet at a local bar, then go bowling, and then go back to the bar afterwards. So we all met, and that's where I was introduced to Marlena by a friend of mine.
Who's Marlena? That's you, Ms. Collazo.
Yes. And we then went bowling.
Who went bowling?
Mike, myself, two friends, Marlena.
So she went bowling with you?
Yes.
Okay.
I never really carried on a conversation with her because I didn't know her. Then after bowling, several hours later, we then went back to the bar to just hang out, have a couple of drinks, and just socialize. And that's when Michael had asked me that Kristen was coming down.
Another girl was coming?
Yes. And he had said that she liked him. He asked me if I would go along and say that I was his girlfriend. I said, that's fine. Marlena was on the other side of the bar, sitting with Kristen. They were carrying on a conversation.
So Marlena, Ms. Collazo, was sitting at the other side of the bar with this girl who had a crush on
Michael.
Michael?
Yes.
Okay. Gotta get me a scorecard here.
Michael and I were standing there talking. And before I knew it, Marlena had come up behind me, grabbed the back of my hair, and yanked my head back, and began to yell at me and call me a liar and said that I had lied to her. And
Lied to?
I had lied to her. She
Okay.
said that I lied to her or lied to Kristen. Michael had asked her to leave, so she had left the bar. From there, Kristen came up to me. She's like, I'm really sorry. She's like, you know, we were just standing there having a conversation. She's like, Marlena was supposed to come up and confront you and Michael about the situation, if you were lying or not. She's like, I never expected her to pull your hair.
So Miss Collazo left because Michael told her to leave.
Yes.
And she left the bar.
I wanted to know why she had pulled my hair. I went outside. I was standing there on the edge of the sidewalk. Her car door was open. She was getting into the car whenever I had asked her why she'd pulled my hair.
How far away from you was she when you asked her that question?
I don't know.
Point to
it was-
something in this room.
She was probably like where the flag is behind you, the navy blue flag on the right-hand side.
Okay, so pretty far away.
There was a pretty good distance between us.
Okay.
I didn't leave the sidewalk. I stood there and figured that I would carry on
So
the
you
conversation.
shouted to her, why did you
Yes.
pull my hair?
Exactly. I just wanted to know. I didn't care.
Why did you pull my hair? Is that what you said?
Yes.
Go ahead.
From there, she had shut the car door and began yelling at me. I guess she felt threatened that
Don't tell me what she felt. She shut the car door and started to yell at you. What did she say?
She just called me a liar and said that I lied to her about the whole situation when I didn't lie to her. I lied, you know, to Kristen. And she approached me.
So she left the car and came to you.
Yes.
Go ahead.
From there, we continued to exchange words, and before I knew it, she had jumped on me and slammed my head up against the car. It was a Jeep Grand Cherokee. I did $400 worth of damage to the car with my head that she bounced off of it. From there, she continued to jump on me and beat on me. She had scraped my face with her nails, pulled my contact out of my eye, and every time I tried to get up and get away, she continued to jump back on top of me. I had a bruise on my left inner leg from continuing to fall. Numerous times I had asked her to get off of me, that I wasn't going to fight her. I tried pushing her away, and when I pushed her away, she then bit me on my hand. And I have pictures if you want to see.
I sure do.
She had bit me on my left hand in between my thumb and my pointer finger. The pictures are really hard to see. I have scars on it from where she bit me. From there, finally somebody came outside and pulled her off me long enough for me to go inside and call 911 and have the paramedics come.
Okay, now you hit somebody's Grand Cherokee, and reading between the lines in your complaint, I gathered that somebody was forced to pay for the damage on the Grand Cherokee. Who was
Yes.
that?
I had to pay $255.19. She was supposed to pay $220.19.
And you want her to pay not only the $255.19 that you paid for the truck, but also for your injuries
Yes.
that you sustained as a result of what you claim was the assault. Okay, did you finish your story?
I have all the medical reports, if
Okay.
you would like those.
No, I don't need them yet, but I may, so keep them handy. All right, Ms. Collazo, let's hear your version of the events.
Okay, everything's true up until the part to where we came over to talk to her. Also, she had talked to me earlier. She said she had no conversation with me at the bar at the bowling alley because earlier that day I had asked her and Mike, were they a couple, in conversation at the bar before we went to the bowling alley. And at the bowling alley, we did talk. I mean, you can't really bowl.
I don't care
Okay,
whether you
I'm
talk.
just letting you know that we did speak. At the bar, yes, I was talking to Kristen. We were talking about the fact that Mike had told her that her girlfriend was there. And I said, what are you talking about? He doesn't have a girlfriend. She said, well, that's her right there. And I said, no, that's not her it's not his girlfriend. I said, they're making a fool of you, you know? And she's just like, I don't understand all that crying stuff. I was like, well, if you want to, I said, we can go over there and ask her right now, and you can stop sitting here being the, you know, the red thumb here and go on with your business. So we go over to the side of her, and I tapped her. She was turned around. Mike was in between us, and I tapped her on her shoulder, and I asked her the question, and she said no. And she looked at me with this face, and she's just like, well, why do you care? Why do you care? And she started getting loud in the bar. Mike was standing in between us, and he did not ask me to leave. He said, Marlena, I know you're better than this. And I said, I know I am. And I turned around, and I proceeded to leave the bar. I turned around, and she was right there, coming at me, asking me, who do I think I am, and why do I care, and why is this important to me? And she grabbed at me. So what was I supposed to do? Of course I grabbed her and started, I beat her up, but I mean, she had me, you know? And we hit the car, we hit the ground, we rolled around for a little while, and She got someone's cell phone because she was on the phone outside making phone calls, calling me a this, a that, I'm going to jail just because I'm a stupid N-word and this, that, the next and the other. And I'm like, whatever, I'll wait here for the police. The police came. He said, are you the person who called the police?
Can I see the police report, please?
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Stephanie Wishner says she was assaulted by Marlena Collazo during an argument at a bar. Stephanie claims Marlena rammed her head into the side of a truck.
So you left before the police arrived, is that right?
No, I left after the police got there. He pulled up right in front of the bar. I was still out front. He looked at me and he said, are you the one who called the police? I said, no. I said, I'm just trying to get my things and leave. He said, okay. And he went inside to talk to her.
Well, according to the police, you left before his arrival. Why didn't you hang around and speak to the police officer?
I was right there when he pulled up, and he asked me, he said, are you the one who called the police?
No, I'm not the one that called the police, but I know about this incident. You knew why the police were there, right?
Yeah.
So why wouldn't you stay around and give your version of the events?
I didn't feel it was necessary.
No? Take any prescription medication?
Do I take prescription medication?
Do you take any prescription medication?
No.
There's no excuse for this. There's no excuse for this kind of an assault. This wasn't a single assault. This was clear. She beat you up. Okay? And she has to be responsible for that. But you also, it seems to me, have some responsibility. There's no question that two of you had been drinking that evening because you started out at the bar, then you went to the bowling alley where I'm sure you were drinking beer or whatever else they serve there, then you go back to the bar and you're drinking some more. So I'm sure that both of you were feeling a little bit loose. Would that be a fair statement?
Yes, we were drinking.
Okay. That doesn't give you this. You understand that?
Yeah.
And you got involved with something that had absolutely nothing to do with you. You're talking to Christina. Christina wants to know if this boy is actually dating this girl. What does that have to do with you? And what do you have to start trouble for? You tell this girl that they're making a fool out of her? I mean, is that what a mature person does?
Well, they were.
What does that have to do with you? So, you had to pay for the truck? That's part of the cost of being stupid and going out and following her outside. As far as your medical bills are concerned, now I want to see your medical bills and the reports.
This is the hospital report. This is the medical.
You didn't see the doctor, I assume, Ms. Collazo, because you went home before you even spoke to the police. Is that right?
That's it?
Yes.
I went home and I went to bed.
Went home and went to bed. Did you go to work the next day?
Yes, I did.
So I assume you weren't injured.
Not to the point where I felt I needed medical attention.
Well, tell me how you were injured at any point.
Okay, I had scratches all over my neck.
Did you have any photographs of that?
Did I know I was going to court? No.
Did you? If you had hung around, Ms. Collazo, and spoken to the police, maybe you would have known. Nothing more unseemly than women who drink. Medical bills total $1,160.
Can I speak right now?
Mm-hmm.
We had a criminal case. She already tried to get me for harassment, but the judge in Pittsburgh dropped the charges.
Well, I'm not dropping the charges. As far as I'm concerned, madam, you owe $1,160. Judgment for the plaintiff.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
I'm tired of seeing her in court. This is my third time, and hopefully I don't have to see her ever again.
I really think she was out looking to just start something. And I was the lucky person.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Passariello versus Stillwell. Step forward, please.
Kalia and Vito Passariello are suing DJ company owners Jennifer and Eric Stillwell for ruining their wedding video. The Stillwells say the video was free.
Mr. and Mrs. Passariello, you were getting married, and you hired the defendants as DJs for the wedding. Is that right?
Correct.
And how many hours was the reception?
We had hired them to play for 3 hours.
What did your contract provide for?
$210.
Not a lot of money for 3 hours, right?
Average where we live.
Okay. How did you find them? Did you find them through an advertisement, or did somebody recommend them?
In the phone book, an advertisement in the phone book.
Okay. Had you asked for any recommendations?
We only had 2 months to plan our wedding, and in their advertisement, it says that they do a videotaping for free. And since we were in a hurry, we decided to go with them because we also wanted the videotape. So we chose
Let
them.
me see the ad, please.
We actually have two.
Just a second. So $210 was for the DJ. How many people? One DJ or two?
They told me that there would be one DJ, but there would be someone there helping him.
And was there?
There were two other people there with him.
Okay. So that's a pretty reasonable.
Right.
So you're not complaining. Your lawsuit doesn't complain about the DJ services. Your lawsuit says that they were to provide you your event videotaped free.
Correct.
That's what the ad says.
Right.
But not the DJ services. The DJ services you paid for.
Right.
The video was free. And what you're complaining about is the quality of the videotape.
Right.
Right?
And some of the service.
Well, you never like everything that a DJ does, Ms. Paciarello.
They lost our first dance song, and they also asked me to make up a song list, and the song list was not played. And we had picked out special music for the cake cutting, and it was not played either.
Ms. Paciarello, listen to me very carefully. I have made a lot of weddings. Never is perfect. Did you fire them?
Well, I couldn't send him home and have no entertainment.
Of course not. So you kept them for the 3 hours.
Right.
Fine. So you got your service provided for, because what you're suing them for is not $210. You're suing them for $2,110. You're suing them for 10 times as much as you paid because you say they spoiled your day because of the video.
It wasn't just that the day was spoiled. My husband is from New York, and his family was not able to attend, and we were counting on this video to include them so they could see, and it's so embarrassing. We cannot.
Then you should have hired somebody who was a professional videoer.
Well, their ad shows professional this, professional that, and they actually have it in a higher printing that your video service
is free.
Yes, but they're standing
Mr. Paciarello, it's ludicrous to believe that you actually thought that you were going to get both a professional DJ and a helper for 3 hours, plus a professional video, all for the bargain price of $210.
That's average where we live. It's not low, it's very average.
So what you're telling me is you can get a professional DJ and a professional video.
I don't know about a professional video.
You're not following what I'm saying, madam. It's ludicrous to believe that you could possibly expect a professional DJ plus a professional video.
They agreed to provide a video.
They provided you a video, madam. You may not like the video.
Can I show you the video?
No, I'm not interested.
It's awful.
Just a second. You should have hired a professional photographer if you wanted a professional video. How is somebody going to do a DJ, pay attention, professionally, as well as videotape an event to your liking, right? You want two professionals for $210.
They had 3 people at the event, one person to DJ and the other 2. One of the men was standing there with the camera. Now, we're not saying a professional job. We're saying at least an average job. This is
out of the
below
3 hours.
Where do you get standards?
Out of the 3 hours.
Just a minute. Where do you get
hired
standards for a free service? That it's supposed to be average, below average, above average?
I'm sure it's rounded into the price somewhere.
Did you call for hey, Ms. Paciarello, I hear a lot of people complaining about wedding events afterwards. Sometimes I rule in their favor. When they hire a photographer and the photographer's pictures are so outrageous, and you've hired a professional photographer, they are successful. But you did not hire a professional photographer. You hired a professional DJ who was giving you as a service, as a free service, a video. I'm going to ask you only one other question. Did you contact, in the course of the 2 months preparation for your wedding, a photographer?
No, his father took all the pictures for our wedding.
So the answer is you did not contact a photographer.
We didn't need to. No.
Good.
Oh,
so I hope you have good pictures. Listen, stop making a mountain out of a molehill.
No, can you view the tape, please?
I'm not interested in the tape, madam. There are pictures on the tape. Is that right?
It's a video.
You can't see it. It's so dark you can't see it. And when we're cutting the cake, the speaker for this system, they set their service up right in front of our cake table, and you cannot even see Vito except for the waist down.
You hired a DJ.
But they agreed to provide another service.
They provided another service.
No,
they
they
gave
didn't.
you a video. And the fact that, Ms. Pasciarello, you're not going to get a dime. Understand that. You hired a DJ for $200 for 3 hours. Did you play 3 hours or more?
We played four.
Played 4. Because they felt bad because they broke our first dance tape.
Fine. Well, that's a just a second. That's a very nice thing. So they played for 4 hours. They played for 4 hours.
But I told him to leave.
No.
Yes, we did. He asked us several times if we wanted him to stay for a half an hour for 35 or a full hour for 70, and I told him no, because there was only like 30 people left.
Just a second. So are you telling me they didn't stay for 4 hours?
They did, but I didn't tell him to.
I
told
ask
him he could
Ms.
leave.
Pasciarello, get this straight. They played at your wedding for 4 hours for $200. And for that, you also believe you are entitled to a video that is totally satisfactory to you.
No.
You are not entitled to that. Did you ever hear the expression, you get what you pay for?
Did you ever hear the
No,
expression?
don't ask me any
"Nothing's
questions.
free"?
That's right. Nothing is free and you get what you pay for. Case closed. Case is dismissed. That's
Parties
all.
are excused. You may step out. Yeah, this is case number 29 on the calendar in the matter of Matthias versus Matheson. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated. Folks, have seats, please.
Mr. and Mrs. Matthias, you hired the defendant's firm to re-roof your home.
Yes, ma'am.
And you claim that in the process of working in your home, they tortured your dog.
That's correct.
They entered your home without your permission, or someone entered your home without your permission. Nothing was taken, but you were forced to put new locks on the doors and windows. And you want the defendant to return the price of all the roofing materials that you paid for the house and for your aggravation.
Correct.
Okay. The defendant said his people didn't do anything and he should be paid for his work. I assume you were paid for your work, is that right?
No, I haven't been paid at all.
You haven't been paid at all?
No.
Okay. We'll see. What was the total cost of the job?
Total cost of the job after the second invoice was $7,597.
Can I see it, please? Did you give him any deposit?
No, ma'am.
So you gave him nothing?
No.
Did this price include the materials?
Yes, ma'am.
It did?
Yes, it did.
So you have paid for neither materials nor the roof?
I've paid for the materials, yes.
Who did you pay for the materials?
His supplier.
How much did you pay for his materials?
$2,400.
And is the material money that you want back?
Yes.
Okay. When were you supposed to pay him the balance?
I told him that I'd pay the balance after a person of the court told me to do so on good conscience. I cannot, after what happened.
Okay. Now, you were not at home when this work was done.
I arrived home at 3 o'clock and 2/3 of the job was complete.
You have, I assume, a witness who saw what happened.
Yes, ma'am.
Are you the witness? I assume you're the witness. Step up, please. Tell me your name.
My name's Karen Dick.
Are you a neighbor?
Yes, I am.
How far away from the plaintiff's house is your house?
They live directly across the street.
Would you tell me what you saw on that day?
Yeah, typically I get up in the morning and I prepare dinner for the kids. So I got up and I noticed out the window that we have over the sink that the neighbors were having their roof done. I went on about my business, and then as I'm looking out the window, I was at the sink doing something, I noticed there was a sort of a large dog. It wasn't a big dog. It was tall, but it wasn't too big. I didn't really recognize it. I've only been in the home with my boyfriend about 8 months, so I hadn't really met the neighbors. I've only said hello to them. I noticed the dog was on Joe's front lawn, kind of in the middle of about 5 gentlemen who it seemed like they were just kind of scurrying the dog. I didn't know if maybe the dog got out, they were concerned this dog's interfering with their work, if they were nervous. A few minutes later, I came back to the sink. I now noticed 2 of the workers have hammers in their hand and they're swinging at the dog. The gates open, so I realized that the workers must let the dog out. So at first I think maybe they're just trying to intimidate the dog.
What kind of gate was it? Was it a fenced yard?
It's a fenced yard, yes.
And you saw that
it was open, yes.
Now, when you saw them swinging these hammers, none of the blows connected with the dog?
I did not see that, no.
Okay.
As I'm watching, though, the dog's showing no aggression, so that wasn't the issue. And the dog is kind of scurrying back, and it's sitting back on its back legs. So it was surrendering. They could have easily put it back. At this point, now they're playing a game. The hammers are getting closer to the heads. They're laughing. They're smiling. They're going to hit that dog. So I'm screaming hysterically at the top of my lungs, please stop. What are you doing? And they get my attention, so I'm standing there to make sure they understand I'm standing there watching this. At this point, the two men walk away and the dog's still there. I go back into the home, and my boyfriend's mother, who's about 82, comes into the house, and I'm trying to explain to her, because her English isn't great, I'm trying to explain to her what's going on, and I'm looking out over her shoulder. At this point, I see one of the two gentlemen with a rope in his hand starting to do this, and I know what he's going to do. And I'm watching this, and before I can react, he's already got the dog by the two back legs. He's yanked the rope, and by yanking the rope so hard, he forced the dog to flip over on the back side, and from the left side of Joe's house all the way to the front side, to the far right side of Joe's house, through the street, not on the side, but through the street, he drugged the dog on the dog's back. Okay, I'm sorry. Okay, I'm fine.
Was there any, when he did that to the dog, when he tied the dog's back legs, were they still right near the fenced-in yard?
No. Thank you. The gentleman that had the rope was standing in the street when he picked up the rope, because he's walking down.
So the dog had moved?
The dog really hadn't really moved. The dog was still in the grass, from what I recall. He's still kind of on the grass. He hasn't really gone anywhere. The gentleman takes the rope, and he's walking this way. So he had gone down, I don't know if it's truck, I couldn't see from my window, but he was coming back. And when he came into my view, that's when he had the rope in his hand, and that's where he took the rope to the dog's legs. As he dragged the dog through the street, that's when I ran back outside, and I wanted to make my presence completely known that I'm watching this and I'm seeing who's doing this. Because he's tugged the rope so tight, there was no way for the dog to break free for quite some time.
How did the dog
Just by wiggling and wiggling and wiggling. At this point, the dog was able to run up to the front porch, and as I'm walking, because I'm moving this way, to see what's going on, the dog, I could see him burrow into the corner on the porch to just be left alone. The gentleman who had the rope walks up and kind of goes down and starts going, trying to get the dog to be nice. And I'm thinking, if you've done all this to the dog and you're not scared of the dog at this point, how could anyone even conceivably say that you were just intimidated by this dog and that's why you did any of this to get the dog back in the backyard? There was no intimidation by this dog. So I'm just standing there. I'm not going to leave until I can see this dog put back in the backyard. Eventually, the man does sit there. He pets with the dog, and he picks the dog up, and he does eventually put the dog in the backyard, close the door. I go in the house, and I don't know what to do. Again, I don't know the neighbors that well. I'm thinking, should I call the police? I don't want to stir something up, call the police, and then have a problem with the neighbors. So I'm thinking it's better for me to advise them first. I have to go to work, so I call my boyfriend, tell him what's going on, to please make sure that they're aware of what happened, to let him know when I come home from work, I will fill him in on the details. After I'd done that, I noticed the truck was open and I saw the phone number, so I called the number to see if I could talk to the owner of the company to tell him to please come out, and I would speak to him personally. When I called, the gentleman said that I'd have to leave my phone number, someone would have to call me back, and I wasn't comfortable with that. So I figure it's better for me to let things be until I get home to bring this out. And then that evening, that's when I went over and spoke to the Mathiases and told them what I had seen.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Monica and Joseph Mathias claim employees of contractor Glenn Matheson tortured their dog. The Mathiases say the workers hogtied their pet.
You also claim, Mr. Mathias, that the house was open.
Yes, it was.
Do you have a witness to that?
I have a witness from our mail carrier that said that she delivered...
No, you don't have a witness. If you don't
no, you're correct. I do not have a witness. I have a letter from the mail carrier. Okay, the mail carrier stated to me...
You can't tell me what the mail carrier stated.
Okay.
You can't give me a letter. I have to see a witness testify. You see, testimony is powerful. I can make a determination as to credibility, etc. There's no question that there was no property taken from your house.
I don't believe there was, no.
Good. You weren't there that day?
No, I wasn't.
So you don't know what happened?
Correct. Just from what my foreman, Bernie, just told me.
Okay. What's Bernie's last name?
Ramirez.
Mr. Ramirez, would you step up, please? You were supervising these men that day?
Yes, ma'am.
Were you watching them at all times?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you see what happened with the dog?
Yes, I was there too. I was, when the dog came out,
When the dog came out of where?
From the yard.
How did the dog get out of the yard?
One of my workers go inside to collect the electric power, the extension cord, and the dog, he leave the door open, and then that's when the dog come out.
So one of your workers allowed the dog to get out?
Right.
Were you told, sir, that there would be a dog there?
Paperwork that I provide suggests that they keep the dog at a neighbor's house or inside the house.
That's not what I asked.
No, I didn't know there was a dog there.
Okay. Go ahead. So one of your workers let the dog out?
So the dog come out and I start playing on the front of the yard. And I was talking to him by the phone, and so I saw the dog running,
running in the front yard?
On the front yard, in and out. And then, so I'm scared because I said, well, maybe the dog is gonna go away. So I tell my workers. So two workers come out from the roof to try to put the dog inside, back in the yard. But I never saw nobody hit the dog, nobody touched the dog.
No, there was no testimony that anybody hit the dog with the hammer.
Yeah,
there was testimony that they were motioning to the dog with the hammer. Did you see the dog being tied up by the back legs?
No.
Well, that happened because there is no question in my mind that this lady is telling me the truth. Any question in your mind that the neighbor is telling me the truth, sir?
I have no idea.
Well, I know, if you have no idea, I'm going to tell you that this lady is telling me 100% truthfully that the dog was tied up by the legs and pulled in the street. And if your worker, Bernie, didn't see that, then he didn't see everything. There isn't a reason in the world that this neighbor, who doesn't know these people from a hole in the wall, would come to court and lie for her and pick up the phone and call your company to tell your company.
I've got records that she didn't call.
Oh.
I get a log of every call that comes into my office.
That somebody records?
Correct.
So nobody recorded, just a second.
No, either name or number. They don't care. They'll record a message.
She wasn't leaving her name and number.
Correct. She left a message. I show no message.
That's your problem.
Well,
that's your problem.
It states that she didn't call me.
She called you.
She didn't.
Oh, yes, she did.
I don't have record of it. Every call that comes into my office.
No, listen to me, sir.
Recorded.
Listen to me carefully. Don't get defensive. You weren't there. Fortunately, you weren't responsible for this. But I can think of no reason why this woman, who is new to the neighborhood, would be so upset about what she saw to go outside, get the number from your truck, come inside, place a call, speak to somebody who said to her, according to her, which I believe 100%, leave me your number, somebody will call you back. She said, I'm not leaving my number, thank you very much, and she hangs up, and nobody records it in your log.
She said that they took a message to get me out to the job site.
No, that's not what she said. That's what you wanted to hear.
That's what
What she said was she wanted somebody to come to the job site, but they said to her, give me your name and your telephone number, and I'll have someone call you back. And she did not want to do that.
But she requested to leave a message. That message would have been taken and recorded and sent to me.
Just to say, I heard what you said.
Correct.
You're not hearing what I'm saying?
I'm hearing.
I believe she called.
I don't believe she called.
Then that's your problem. Fortunately, I'm in charge. I don't know if Bernie is lying intentionally or if he didn't see everything or if he wasn't watching what was going on there. You think these people are trying to scam you out of a roof?
I believe they're trying quite a bit. Yes.
Really?
Yes.
No. I think that the men that you hired did not do the right thing that day, and they were very angry. Whether or not it translates into them suing you for $5,000, I don't know. But there's no question in my mind, after listening to Bernie and listening to the neighbor, that she is telling me the truth. Bernie, two things. He either did not see everything or he's lying. Because he did not put the dog back in the pen.
I've never known
He
Bernie
did
to
not
lie.
put the dog back in the pen, Bernie. She says somebody came to the front door, one of the men came to the front door and ultimately picked up the dog and put it back into the yard after they got finished doing the stupidity that they were doing to this dog.
I was told the dog was dragged back into the garage. Getting a lot of conflicting stories.
Not
from
to
this
me.
side. Of course not.
Not to me.
I have.
Not to me.
I've received a number of different stories. And the dog doesn't get taken to the vet till 2.5 days, 3 days later after I tell him, no, I'm not going to settle for this. I'm not going to take your word or your neighbor's word. I'm not going to give you a financial benefit for this. I said, what do you want? He says, I want money from you. I own your company. I want a free roof. I said, I'm not going to give you a free roof. I'll sleep on it. He sleeps on it, comes back and says, I don't want to pay your labors. You know they're lying to you. You know anyone will lie in order to get paid. Well, to this day, they haven't been paid.
2 people attached to your company did the wrong thing that day with the dog.
It wasn't proven. You have
It's
one
proved.
witness.
Just a second.
You've
It's
got the
proven
vet who says there's nothing wrong with the
Just a
dog.
second. I didn't say that the dog was injured, sir. The dog was maltreated. The dog was
She could have
maltreated.
misconstrued what was going on in some parts, yes.
No. This lady didn't come out twice screaming because she was misconstruing what was going on.
She was concerned about how scared she was. Call the police. The police could have been there and taken care of everything. Everything would have been solved right then and there.
It's a possibility. She could have done that. She
But
could have called the police.
So there was
Give me a reason. Think of a reason.
Why she didn't call the police?
No, think of a reason why she would lie. I can think of a reason why Bernie would lie.
Why is that?
Because he was responsible. He was the foreman on the job. He was responsible ultimately for the performance of his men and
He's
what they
performed
did.
jobs
I'm
for me for 12 years.
I'm speaking. He was responsible ultimately for the performance. And if he came to you and said to you, I did in fact see two of my guys who didn't know what they were doing, who were just sort of fooling around with the dog, and one did put a lasso around the legs, but meant to put it around the head to get it back into the house, or he didn't see everything, or he figured, say nothing. I can think of a reason for him to lie. I can't think of a reason for her to lie.
And I can't think of a reason for him to lie.
Well, I can. So, and that's the only thing that counts. So, you have to prove damages to me, sir. What were your damages? So far, you got a $7,500 roof for nothing.
Yes, ma'am. The hardware replacement for the door locks and everything.
Listen to me. I'm not entertaining your claim for any door locks.
Okay.
Because as far as I'm concerned, they didn't do anything with regard to going into your house.
Okay, I felt in good conscience I should pay the materials for the roof. I'm not going to pay him until an officer of the court tells me to pay him for the labor.
Well, that's not...
Or anything like that.
Yeah.
The pet clinic was $31.
Let me see the vet reports.
And all the material has not been paid.
I have the receipt for
Material
that, Your
from
Honor.
ALL has been paid, but not material from my yard. Not all material came from ALL.
Your countersuit is for $4,500 for defamation of character and lost wages. The defamation of character, I assume, has to do with these people saying things about your business.
Correct. Contacting the Better Business Bureau, threatening to contact the newspaper, and degrading my company.
They are entitled to do that.
Your Honor, he's also put a lien on my house, I believe.
I have every right to lien the house. I haven't been paid for
You're
a job.
absolutely right. Is this lawsuit supposed to determine that?
No.
So then why am I hearing your countersuit?
It's not for the lien on the house.
Well, what is it for?
It's for loss of wages for my men for the day, loss
what
of
day?
work, for today, for being here.
For today?
Correct.
Forget it. Your counterclaim's dismissed. I believe that they have a perfectly valid claim against you because I believe that the people who represent your company did the wrong thing that day. First, they negligently let the dog out of the yard. That, at least, we know from Bernie. And after that, Bernie told them to go and take care of it. Then one of them dragged the dog across the property, not even the property, not even the grass, but into the street,
With
in
no
the gravel.
damages to the dog.
What?
No injury to the dog. After all this horrendous treatment of the animal.
Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount requested, $5,000. You're pretty thick.
Parties are excused. You may step out. Yeah, this is case number 101 on the calendar in the matter of Walker versus Stubbs. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated. Ladies, have seats, please.
I see a whole bunch of ladies here, but no men. Where is he?
I tried to talk him into coming, but he was too embarrassed to be on TV with this matter. Yes.
They caused the trouble.
Mm-hmm. This is true.
And they just drop it and walk away. So, ladies, let's us have a little talk.
Yes.
You want me to leave?
No, you can stay, Bert. You're close enough. You were seeing the defendant's husband.
Right. Yes.
And you claimed at the time you started to see him, you didn't know he was married. You
Exactly.
found out he was married. Your claim is that even when you broke up with him, or he broke up with you, whatever it was, that his wife, the defendant, vandalized your property, caused you great stress, was harassing you. She says that it's actually you who were doing the stalking, the harassing, the interfering with her family, so I have a claim and a counterclaim, each in the same amount of money, $1,000, right?
Right.
And somebody has a protective order. Who has a protective order?
I do.
I'd just like to take a look at that document, please. When did you start to see her husband?
Say 96, September of 96.
And how long did you see him?
For approximately a year.
And you haven't seen him since 1997?
Well, actually, I haven't seen him since like 99. Actually, I've seen him, but not as a relationship. I've seen him. Or is him fixing my car? He has a shop. He's a mechanic.
But since 1999, you haven't had a romantic relationship with him?
No.
You telling me the truth?
Yes, I mean, I'm married and everything. I've gotten married and everything, so.
It's over.
Been over.
All right. You have any information?
Yes.
They've been seeing each other since?
She was just trying to convince me that she was still dating him just last month.
How was that?
She was calling my cell phone, and I have my cell phone bill. When she was in the hospital and she was so sick, but she had enough time to call me continuously.
Did you call her for any reason?
Well, actually, she called me, and she came to my house and left a letter at my house on the 12th of April. This is how this whole thing started. She came to my house, left this letter right here, which is the same date that she broke the window, which is the pictures right here.
Just a second, just a second. Did you send this letter?
I did.
Could we talk for a minute?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Like grown-up gals.
Mm-hmm.
You have a husband?
Mm-hmm.
He's your problem.
Mm-hmm.
You want to have anything to do with her husband?
No.
You believe that?
Well, I believe it now.
Do you have children?
No, I don't. I have custody of my niece, though.
How old is she?
9 years old.
How long have you had custody of her?
Well, like the last 6 years. She's been with me for about 6 years.
And you have a husband?
Yes.
How long are you married?
Since August 26th of 2000.
Is he a nice man?
Very.
What kind of work does he do?
In the oil refinery, the oil field.
And do you work?
No, I don't.
So you stay home and take care of your niece?
Exactly.
Any reason you want to have grief with this lady?
Well, no, I don't have a problem with her.
How old are you?
32.
Any reason why you should want to have grief with this lady? Or grief in your life?
No, but what I'm saying is,
the answer
can I
is no.
explain myself?
The answer is no.
Okay.
Right? You don't want to have any grief in your life, right?
No, I don't.
You have children?
Yes, I do.
How long have you been married?
I've been married 6 years.
Does your husband work?
Yes, he does.
What kind of work does he do?
He's a mechanic.
You have to find someplace else, by the way, to have your car fixed. I know you haven't been back there in a while. Find someplace else. There are lots of mechanics.
No problem, you're right.
Because that just starts trouble. You know what I mean?
Yes.
You don't want to have any further dealings with her, do you?
Never did.
So why don't we come together, ladies, and come to terms with the fact that all of this trouble started because a guy was cheating on his wife, using 2 women at the same time. Because he didn't tell you he was married, right?
No, he didn't.
That's what you told me. And I'm sure he didn't tell you he was fooling around.
Can I say something?
Yes.
When he was cheating with her and she found out he was married, she thought she should help him to destroy his marriage, and she started calling my job to tell me what color underwear my husband has on as if I didn't wash them.
Just a minute. Let me tell you something. He was the user.
Mm-hmm.
Because if he conned her into thinking he was available, he allowed her emotions to run full circle. And all of a sudden, she finds out he's married. It's much easier to take things out on each other than it is to take things out on the person who's responsible, and that's the guy who was afraid to come to court today, right?
Right.
Why should you two ladies be dumb enough to suffer for what he did, which is really what you've been doing to each other? Both of you have been doing it to each other.
Mm-hmm.
Both of you. And that's ridiculous. He caused the trouble. You know, he makes a mess and he walks away, leaving 2 ladies to fight over him, and he's probably enjoying it, and he's probably not worth it. Very few of them are.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Natalie Walker says her ex-boyfriend's wife, Deshaun Stubbs, broke her living room window with a bottle of Snapple. Natalie also claims Deshaun slashed her tires and wrote defamatory statements on her garage door.
Yeah, what do you want? Tell me.
Yes, I would like to just say, that's really not the problem, wanting him or nothing, or bothering her or nothing like this. My problem is, this Easter I was in the hospital, and she came up to the hospital 2 days in a row, you know, to confront me and fight me. We had a fight. I have to report everything at the hospital. This is the problem I'm having with her coming to where I am, you know what I'm saying, as a patient in a hospital and create problems for me.
I read that, and I read that you went to the hospital twice. She was in the hospital.
She was. And I did not assault her, and if I did, I would have been arrested.
Why did you go to the hospital?
She asked me to, and here's my phone bill to prove it. She was calling me, and she was so sick, but yet she wasn't too sick to call me on 439, 442, 518, 519.
Why, just a minute, why did you call her house?
No, her cell phone after she called me. I never called her house. No, I didn't.
Why did you call her cell phone?
Because she had previously called me, and I star 69'd her back. That's how I called her back.
What did you say when you got her on the phone?
I called her and I asked her, I said, why would you call me every year on my birthday like this to create a problem for me? I told you I wasn't messing with your husband. We were just arguing like that over the phone.
Tell me what else was said.
Then she hung up, and then she called me back, and she was like, well, I don't want to cuss. Well, like she said, like I told you, I'm going to make sure you don't mess with my husband, and this is what I'm going to do to you. I'm going to come. I know where you at. You know I can find where you are.
How many times did you call her on her cell phone that day?
Twice.
What'd you call the second time for?
Well, because she hung up. She hung up in my face while we were arguing after she said something.
So what'd you call her back for?
To make my point.
So what was your point that you made to her?
That I wasn't messing with her husband, and I'm very tired of her coming around every so often.
You told her that already?
That was the point I was steadily making.
So then she comes up to the hospital?
Yes.
And she came up to the hospital twice?
Yes,
2
2
see
days.
you. And the second time you had her arrested?
No.
Well, no, both, they just wrote it out. They didn't arrest her neither time. They escorted her out one night, and then the other night, it's all in this report. What
Fine.
happened. So if you would like to see
No. The second time she came up, she also says it was a mistake. It was the mistake to go to the hospital to see her the first time, right?
It was a mistake.
And it was a mistake to go to see her the second time.
It was a mistake. She baited me there.
I don't care whether she baited you there. Come on. It was a mistake.
It was a mistake.
You got how many children?
I have 3 stepkids and a child me and my husband have together, but we take care of all 4 kids.
So you have 4 children to take care of. You got better things to do than to go to the hospital to visit somebody that you can't stand. Look, as a result of that, there's an order of protection against you.
I filed one against her as well.
But I don't have it.
Well, that's because I just filed today.
Well, but you filed today. Listen to me.
She
has one against you. An order of protection. You have to stay 100 yards, 100 feet, 100 miles away from her. You're not supposed to go near her at all.
Which was violated yesterday.
I did not come within 100 yards of you.
Yesterday, she brought 2 of her friends to my house. They were at my house when I got home. And I was going home to take these pictures to bring to you of my window, so I had a camera with me.
Let me see the window pictures.
And so what I did was, while they tried to run off while I was calling the police, I took a picture of them leaving down the alley because I had the camera. And I got an incident report number that they took yesterday.
That would not be a picture of me,
Can you give her that? Because this is the report
And it's not
number.
a picture of me. And I also have a picture of her window.
Because you was in the car, that's why.
Yeah, but I wasn't.
You have a picture of a broken window here. When was your window broken?
On the 12th of April. The same time she dropped the letter off.
Okay. Did you see her break the window?
Yes, I was there because I have bars all around, and I have a bar door. I can open my door without going out and see her and everything, the way my house is.
How did she break the window?
With a Snapple bottle, Snapple juice bottle. She threw it as she was leaving or whatever. She threw it into the window.
After she put the note in your mailbox?
Yeah, she came in the yard, put the note, banged on the door, of course. I yelled to her that I wasn't going to come out, be trying to fight with her. And she said what she had to say, cussed and did what she had to do, got in her car and pulled to the side, because you see my gate right there next to the alley, and just threw it. That's that side window by the alley right there.
You have a bill for the window?
Yes. Well, I have an estimate. Yes, I do.
I'd like to see an estimate for the window.
This for the window and the actual tires that she put on the flat.
You'll tell me about that in a minute.
Tell you about that?
In a minute.
Oh,
I want to see the estimate from... All right. Now tell me about the tires.
Okay, here's the picture, the estimate, and everything about that. Wow, this was like right after Valentine's, right?
What year?
After this year. She came over once again, banging on the door, yelling, talking about come outside, what she would do to me. I tells her once again I'm not coming outside, so she takes a knife. This car was right here in front of the house, and just stabbed the tires.
You have a police report on that?
Well, actually, this right here, on the 12th, I just made a report. It's just an incident report. I don't have like this right here. This was from '99 when she ran into my garage.
I don't want to see that.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
God.
I also want you to see this, Judge Judy.
She is lying.
See what?
This is just a report from the hospital and from my niece who was actually there.
Let me see.
When we, you know, I want you to see
When
that.
I beat her up.
There you go.
What you got?
What kind of conversations did you have in the hospital? First time she came.
On Saturday, when she approached me, it was at the nurse station, she said, I want to know what my husband brought you for your birthday, if you got anything. And I'm like, what? How you gonna come to the hospital and ask me about what your husband got me for my birthday? And so she started cussing. She said, because that's my husband, and I told you to stop messing with my husband, and we got to verbally arguing, and she swung and hit me. This is how my IV came out that particular day, because I had to have surgery to put another one in. And 2 nurses came, the security came. My niece was standing right there with me because I was walking her to the elevator to leave. That's why I was out of my room, period. And they just broke it up. They detained me, put me into the supervisor's room or something, and they just escorted her out. Then
After that incident, I'll get to you in a minute.
Okay.
After that incident, did you call her again that night on her cell phone? Did you call her again?
No, I don't believe I called her that night after that.
You don't remember whether
No,
you
I
called her
honestly
that
don't
night?
think that I called her that night. No, I don't.
Okay, what time of the day did she leave the hospital?
That night, this happened about 9:30 at night.
At night?
Yeah.
Okay, do you have any phone record after 9 o'clock at night?
I
If
wasn't
she
there
called
at
you,
9.
What time were you there?
It was like 8 o'clock, 7 or 8. It was before
7,
visiting
8,
hours
9.
are
Did you have any
after
phone
visiting
record
hours.
after that she called you?
Actually, Your Honor, I turned my phone off and she just
the,
left me.
the answer is either yes or
Okay,
no.
no.
Okay.
I don't have it
Fine.
here.
Fine. Now, the next day she came back. Is that right?
About 10 o'clock Easter morning.
What happened when she came back at 10 o'clock in the morning?
I was at the nurse station, and she approached me and the nurse. The nurse was right there. And she verbally threatened me again. And
What did
said,
she
"When
say?"
you get, she said, I'm going to find you anywhere you at, and when you get out, I'm going to kick your still. And that's when the nurse immediately called security, so it wasn't no fight or nothing Sunday. Nothing happened. It was just verbal things, and
Okay,
they put her out.
Stop. Between 8 o'clock Saturday evening and 10 o'clock Easter morning, do you have any record of the plaintiff making a telephone call to you?
Yes, I do.
What time?
She called me at 2:27 p.m. and she also called me...
No.
Oh, I'm sorry.
You didn't understand my question.
I didn't. Let me hear it once more.
Then I want you to pay attention.
Okay.
From 8 o'clock Saturday night until 10 a.m. Easter morning, do you have any record that the plaintiff called you?
Yes.
What time?
10:28 a.m.
No.
Oh.
Before 10 o'clock.
Oh, before. She called me at before 10 o'clock. Not before 10, no.
Then she didn't call you to come back to the hospital. You say in your answer that she called you to come back to the hospital, Miss Stubbs.
I'm just confused, Your Honor. She called me...
Stop being confused.
She called me on the 14th. I'm
already past the 14th. You left the hospital. You were escorted out of the hospital.
Well, then she called me all the next day.
I want you to pay careful attention to me, madam. You're escorted out of the hospital Saturday night. You come back to the hospital Easter morning. That's clear from the report.
Okay.
And what I asked you is, why
My
did you
phone
come
was
back?
Off.
Your phone was off,
Yes.
so she did not call you.
She did. She left me messages. She left me messages all morning. She called me. Yes, she did.
Oh, well, I don't have those messages.
That's
You have-
because my phone was off.
You have those messages written down?
No, I
You have more-
erased them.
Oh, well, that's too bad. Then I don't believe you.
Your Honor, her number's all on here. She called me.
You understand what I'm saying to you?
She did call me to come back.
No. No. And if she did and you went, you shouldn't have. All right, let's hear your counterclaim. 1, 2, 3, mental anguish.
Your Honor, I have my doctor's statements.
I don't read doctor's statements.
Okay, well, she used to call my job with her sexual harassment, you know, and I would have to leave my job at times. If she had a date with my husband, you know, being the other woman, she would call me, you know, and rub my nose in
We're
at
talking
work.
about 2 years ago.
No, we are talking about recent. She's trying to convince me, and she was trying to convince me when she was in the hospital that she was still seeing my husband. She was saying that he is doing all kind of sexual things to her, and that is what she was trying to convince me while she was in the hospital.
Let me tell you something, Miss Stubbs. When you write a letter to her that says, this time of year I usually have problems out of you by now. Could this be that I'm finally rid of you? That you wrote to her on 4/12/01.
Yes.
Which suggests to me that for a long period of time, you had not heard from her. You hadn't heard from her for a long time. What'd you start up with her again for? Because you had no reason to start up with her. And then you write something else. I bet you didn't get any something for your birthday. This time, did you? So you were giving her a little bit of a dig that she didn't have your husband for her birthday this time. You're a troublemaker. Get over it. Your counterclaim's dismissed. I believe that she slashed your tires. I believe that she broke your window. And I believe she came to the hospital to harass you. You're suing her for $1,000, and I'm going to grant you judgment for $1,000. But I'm telling you this, I tried to start out this case very clearly by saying, ladies, if you allow a man to make a fool out of you, you're a bigger fool. And if you allow your husband to make a big fool out of you, then that's what you are, a big fool. Get over it. She doesn't want anything to do with him anymore. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $1,000. That's all.
Thank you, Judge Judy.
Parties are excused. Yes, this is case number 161 on the calendar in the matter of Brody versus Kenix Connect. Parties have been sworn in. Judge, you may be seated. Ladies, have seats, please.
Mr. Brody, you went over to a friend's house to visit. You pulled your car into your friend's driveway, right?
That's correct.
The defendant also lives in the house. She arrived sometime later. It is your claim that she pulled her car right up to the bumper of your car, gave it a little bit of a nudge. Nudge? Nudge? No. Nudge. Thank you. Nudge is what I am.
No.
Nudge is what you are. Nudge. And she damaged the back end of your car.
Yeah, the rear bumper.
The rear bumper of your car. You wanted to pay the damage. When did this happen?
It was June 2nd.
What time did you arrive at your friend's house?
About 6 or 7 p.m. after dinner. We'd gone out to pick up dinner.
And was yours the only car parked in the driveway?
When I parked the car, yes, it was.
When did you see any damage to the car?
We came outside about 11 o'clock. What happened is that she had come home while we were inside, obviously. And we went outside, the witness and I, and one of the roommates who had her keys. At this house, the parking is a very difficult situation. So all of the roommates leave their keys downstairs, and everyone has permission to move each other's cars. So we went outside and...
Because you wanted to leave?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
So when we got outside, I saw that the cars were parked in very close proximity. Her front bumper was touching my rear bumper, and it was dark out. So I had him move her car back and shine her headlights on my rear bumper. And as he backed up, I saw scratches and chips on my bumper that hadn't been there before line up with her metal license plate as he backed off.
What kind of car did you have?
I drive a Volvo S70.
And what kind of car does she drive?
A Ford Explorer.
Big car?
Big car.
Did you speak to her about it?
Yes. We went inside, and one of the roommates got her from upstairs. She came downstairs, and I asked her if she knew if she may have touched my car. And she said, indeed, she had. She had tried to move it forward a couple feet.
Ludicrous.
I don't want to hear you yet.
I'm sorry.
She tried to move it forward a couple feet because she was sick of getting tickets for having her car hanging over the edge of the driveway because it's the city's property and you can get tickets for that. And she also said that she thought that people did that all the time, and she thought she could move it because her car was an SUV and mine wasn't, so she didn't think it would be a problem. And I told her that there was damage on my car that hadn't been there before, and I expected her to pay for it. She said that was okay. She apologized. She asked me if I knew how much it was going to be. I told her that I didn't, but I thought it would probably be a couple $100s. I offered to let her go outside and look at the damage. She declined to do that. I told her that I'd call her with an estimate. She said that was fine, gave me her phone number, and I left.
And did you call her with an estimate?
I called her 11 days later with an estimate for $307, which I have right here.
Why didn't you go outside and look at the car?
First of all, he had never
No,
asked...
just a second. I asked you a question. My question to you is, why didn't you go outside to look at the car?
Well, there's a problem with that statement, and that is that he never asked me to go out and look at the car.
Did he tell you that he believed that your car had caused damage to his?
No, all that he said was that, you know, I noticed the cars were very close,
if there should be a problem, can I give you a call? And I said, absolutely. Here's my phone number. I knew that there wasn't any damage done because I knew I hadn't hit his car. I expected to hear from him if there was a problem. 1 day, 2 day, 3 day, 5 days later, no call. I assumed there was nothing wrong and that I was indeed correct, that I hadn't damaged his car. All of a sudden,
That doesn't
2 weeks
answer my
later-
question. Clearly, when he came inside and spoke to you, you had some indication that he believed that there might be some damage to the car. Clearly, because you just told me you waited 1 day, 2 days, 3 days, 4 days, 5 days. So an intelligent person would say, well, let's go outside with some flashlights and take a look at it right now and see if, in fact, there was any damage. So I'm going to repeat my question. Why didn't you, at that point, go outside and take a look at the car?
Because he didn't say there was any risk of damage, and so I didn't think
So
there
you
was
just
anything
gave
to
me your
look
phone
at.
number because you thought he wanted your phone number?
Well, you know, he was kind of cute. You never know. Maybe we can go on a date. I'm kidding. Anyway.
I'm not. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $307. That's all.
Ooh, parties are excused. You may step out.
Well, I'd just like to give a shout out to my E-Town girls, all my UMich girls, 6 Bart, and K13 family. Mwah.
Well, I think Judge Judy's big line is beauty fades, but dumb is forever. And as soon as her beauty fades, I think she'll just be dumb forever.
And now the next case.
All parties on Hugin Merrill versus Leyugan. Step forward.
46-year-old nurse Michelle Morell and her daughter, 16-year-old Jessica Hugin, are suing Jessica's former friend, 18-year-old student Ann Leyugan, for keying her car at school.
What is your name?
Michelle Merle.
How are you related to her?
I'm her mother.
And this was your car that was involved?
It's her car, but I'm the registered owner of it, but
Okay,
it's her
that's
car.
why you're here?
Yes.
Okay, but you had nothing to do with this case. You didn't see anything. You weren't there?
No.
Good. Have a seat. According to your complaint, the defendant used to be a friend of yours. She's no longer a friend of yours. You started dating a boy that used to be her boyfriend.
Yes.
Is that right?
That's correct.
And according to you, that's when the trouble started between the two of you, and the defendant keyed your car. And this was at the school parking lot.
Yes.
So tell me what happened on that date.
I went to the school to pick up a friend, and she had decided to go with someone else, and so I was getting ready to leave, and I saw Ann's car at the end of the parking lot, and I did not want another incident like the first one that had happened, and so I turned around and went back to the school, and I got out of my car, and I saw Ann following me into the school, and so I just kept walking, and she's behind me saying that I'm going to knock your teeth out, and so I just kept walking into the school, and I went into the office, and I saw Ann and her sister walk by the office, look at me, and then they turned back around and went outside of the school. I was on the phone with my mom at that time, and then I went to the windows, and I had saw Ann and her sister walk by the driver's side of my car, and then that's it.
That's what you saw?
Yeah.
There came a time when you went back outside to your car?
When my mom and her friend had shown up at the school.
So you waited inside until they came?
Yeah.
And the reason you called your mother was to sort of escort you out of the school?
Yeah.
Because you were afraid of a confrontation with her?
Yeah.
And describe what you saw when you went to your car.
My mom's friend actually had noticed the side of the car.
Don't tell me what anybody else noticed. Tell me what you saw.
I saw that the whole entire side of my driver's side had been keyed from the front of the car to the end of the car.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. 16-year-old Jessica Hugin says former friend, 18-year-old Ann Leyugan, keyed her car and is denying the charge.
Let me see the photographs, which I'm sure you have. Okay, I'll hear you.
I just know that I picked up my sister once after I had my baby. My baby was maybe, I think, 2 weeks old. I went there to pick up my sister. She was with my former teacher, and Josh, my fiance, was on his way with my son. He's a witness to what happened, and me and my sister, we just went back into the school to show my former teacher the baby. I walked back over to Josh's car and I left, and I never even keyed her car. She doesn't even go to school there. She goes to an alternative school, and I would never key her car. I didn't even know what she drove. When I stopped being friends with her, she was only 15 years old.
Do you have any witnesses who were there?
Yeah, my fiance.
Step up. Tell me your last name.
Caps, Joshua Caps.
You are the father of her child?
Yes, I am.
What time did you arrive at the school that day?
No later than after Ann showed up. She was outside, and I saw her sister talking to her former teacher.
Approximately what time?
Like 2:36.
So before you arrived, you don't know what she was doing?
No.
So she was there alone with her sister?
Yeah, and Mrs., which was the teacher.
Outside when you saw her?
Yeah.
And after you saw her, you showed Mrs. the baby?
Ann and her sister came up to me right when I parked in the parking lot. They told me that they were going to run inside and show Mrs. her son, and they went inside and came right back out.
When you arrived, the girls had already parked their car?
Yeah.
And was standing outside the school?
Yes.
She came up to you in the parking lot?
Ann and her sister did, yes.
Took the baby and went back inside?
Yes.
Then came outside?
Mm-hmm.
Did you wait for her?
Yeah.
Did she leave with you or with her sister?
She took her car, and she took her sister. She was there to pick up her sister, and I followed them.
So she drove alone to the school if she was there to pick up her sister?
Yeah.
Why do you think that she would make up this story about seeing you going over near her car?
Because she's mad because I just stopped being friends with her. And
yeah, but her car got keyed.
There was a lot of people at that school that didn't like her, which is why she decided to drop out of that school and go to the alternative, because she didn't get along with a lot of people.
She wasn't there that long. She wasn't at school that long that day.
I don't know how long she was there.
Well, she didn't go to school there. She wasn't there for the whole day.
Well, I went to pick up my sister.
Talking about her. Step up, please. Did you see the car that morning?
Yes, I saw the car the whole day until Jessie went to school to pick up her friend.
When you say you saw the car the whole day, she left from your house to go to the school to pick up her friend?
Yes, and that's about maybe 3 miles, 4 at the most.
But you had seen the car?
Yes.
No question in your mind?
No question in my mind whatsoever.
There was no damage to the car when she left?
No. Your Honor?
Yes.
I'm not sure if this is the time to bring this up. We also, you were talking about Jessica being afraid, and that's why she went back in the school. We have an anti-harassment order against Ann for protection, and I have a copy of that if you want to see that. This is the one that we have filed,
I also
Your
have,
Honor.
since she's gotten a restraining order, she has been in my work asking for my new address, and I have affidavits of people that I work with.
And this is the court copy that was actually granted. And Jessica had a baby on the 21st of June and was in the hospital she was released on Saturday. And then she was home, so I'm not sure
I have affidavits of two people.
I don't read affidavits.
What?
I don't read affidavits.
Okay, well, I have them.
Okay, whether you have them or not, I hear witnesses. You attended a court hearing?
Yes, we did, Your Honor.
Was there a full hearing?
Yes.
There was testimony taken. Is
Yes.
that right? And after the testimony is taken, there was a protective order issued. Is that right?
Yes.
Do you have a lawyer?
I work full-time, and I'm a full-time college student, and I had to pay my rent. I can't afford a lawyer.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, the court made specific findings after a hearing. The testimony with regard to the application for the protective order dealt with 2 incidents. First incident, which we have not gone into today, which involves a stalking, threatening kind of incident, and then the second incident which involved the school. The court heard the testimony of all witnesses. How many witnesses were there aside from both of you? Any other witnesses?
Him, my fiance, my mom, and my sister.
The court found that the current contact between the parties was initiated by the respondent only, that's you, that the respondent's course of conduct appears to be designed to alarm, annoy, and harass the petitioner, that was her. Contact by the respondent with the petitioner or the petitioner's family has not been limited in any manner by previous court order, which means there was no prior restraining order. And the court ordered you to remain from making any attempts to contact her, going within 2 city blocks of her residence or workplace.
She doesn't work.
Well, evidently the court didn't believe your fiancé or your sister.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
I have to make a determination based upon the testimony that I've heard today, and the testimony that I've heard today that I find most credible is that you keyed her car. Can I please see an estimate of the damage?
Your Honor, I also brought an estimate for a rental car. It's the only car that we have, and at the top of the
I'm not
estimate.
taking into consideration your rental car.
Okay.
What year car is this?
A 93 Pontiac Grand Am.
93 car can be painted for less than $2,218. You can find a paint job for less money than that for an 8-year-old car. I suggest you do that.
Okay.
Bird, I'm not really good at this. How much can you get a nice paint job for?
I really couldn't say, Judge. Depends on what kind of paint job and depends on who you get to do it.
Can you get a nice paint
Your
job
Honor?
for $800?
Your Honor, excuse me. I don't mean to interrupt. I have another estimate here. I didn't hand both of them. I've got 2 different ones.
A little more reasonable.
Well, now you're talking a little bit better, $1,450.
Depends on how far it was keyed, Judge.
Keyed the whole side. $1,450 sounds much more reasonable to me.
Yeah.
I have those 2 estimates. Should have handed me both. Judgment for the plaintiff for the amount of $1,400. That's all.
Thank you.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
He slept with my ex-boyfriend.
I hope that Ann will just leave everything in how it is.
He doesn't say that that's his kid.
I'm just glad it's over, and I hope Ann will put this to rest and leave us alone.
She just doesn't even know who the father of her child is.
Get my car fixed, that's all I want.
I think that there's a lot of girls at Mount Spokane that hate her guts, and anybody could have done it.
If someone's gonna follow me into the school, more than likely, she did it.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Yim versus Barbara. Step forward, please.
30-year-old clothing marketer O'Larry Yim is suing her ex-boyfriend, 41-year-old Patrick Barber, for the return of a computer. Patrick is countersuing for a separate computer.
Miss Yim, according to your complaint, you and the defendant were friends. Sometime in December of 1999, you purchased a computer. You already had a computer, but you bought a new one, a very expensive one. You say that since you didn't need both computers, you allowed the defendant to borrow it, and he had it in his possession for a considerable period of time. Sometime in the summer of 2000, you decided you wanted your computer back. Is that right so far?
Correct.
Defendant said, I thought it was a gift to me because I had done some work for her when she was on this trip to Cambodia, right? See
True.
how I read your papers?
Absolutely.
So what I said to you is, I've already put a lot of my software in the computer. Let me buy you another one. And he bought another one, a laptop, which he gave you.
Correct.
And on what date did he give you the other computer?
I would say approximately July of 2000.
July of 2000. And you kept that computer for a while.
Yes.
For how many months?
I still have that computer.
Which you accepted. Is that right?
Yes.
Then you changed your mind because you say that it wasn't as good as the computer that you had let him borrow.
Correct.
Is that the idea? Is that this case?
More or
I mean,
less.
so now you want the value or the return of your more expensive computer.
Yes.
Wrong. Let us assume, Miss Yim, that you allowed him merely to borrow the computer. That's not what he says. But let us assume that's true. You allowed him to borrow the computer. And when you asked for it back, he said, it's been a long time, 6 months or 8 months or whatever it was. I put my software in it. Let me get you a replacement.
Mm-hmm.
And you said, fine. And a year ago, he got you a replacement. And you accepted it. That means the contract is over. You took the replacement, you kept it, you've had it for almost a year, and the fact that you don't like it anymore doesn't mean that you can go back and get the original one from 1999. Do you understand?
I do.
Good, perfect. Case dismissed.
Oh.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Yeah, this is case number 186 on the calendar, the matter of Downs versus Nagel Barnett.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated. Folks, have seats, huh?
First, let me advise all of you that I have no intention of going back historically into the ongoing allegations of harassment, restraining orders, etc., that exists between you two people. And I'm going to start on a particular day. And that day is back in February of 2001, when I understand from reading your complaint that all of you appeared in court. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
And on that day in February, you all seem to have come to some sort of at least a temporary resolution of this ongoing harassment that each of you claimed that the other is causing you. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
Correct. Yes. So you're in court. You received a restraining order against him?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you have a restraining order at that time against them?
No, ma'am.
No. Okay. Everybody's shaking hands saying, we hope this whole thing will go away. And then you exit the courthouse. Is that right?
No, I didn't know, ma'am. I did not leave the courthouse yet.
Your car was parked in the parking lot.
Yes, ma'am.
And according to you, you saw the defendant's sons doing something to your car.
No, ma'am, I did not see him until after I was told that they were doing damage to my car.
Who saw it?
My son.
Step up here. Tell me your name.
Michael.
Michael, your dad is in court. You went outside to wait for him?
No, I was in the lobby where we were getting ready to get the papers, and as I looked around the corner because I was seeing if the car was okay, the next thing you know, I saw them. They were sitting there kicking the bumper.
Who was?
Jared, Jevin, and Tyler.
These three boys?
Yes, ma'am.
All three boys?
Yes, ma'am.
Was your car parked there as well?
Yes, ma'am.
How far away from where your car was parked was the plaintiff's car parked?
Okay, the plaintiff's car was parked like in the third parking space on the front of the median. My car was on the back side, about 3 cars down.
So, a good distance away from his car?
Correct.
Step up here, all three of you. Names?
Jared Barnett. Tyler Nagel.
Jevin Barnett.
Now, I've read the answer here, and the answer says that you guys were just playing around air karate kicking. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
Shh. Hmm?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Why were you air karate kicking around his car?
Because we were mad because he got away with throwing a softball at my friend Tyler.
So you were mad?
Yes, ma'am.
And you left court, and you went out and found his car. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
And he says you damaged the car.
I didn't.
You didn't. What about you?
I wasn't even near it.
Where were you?
About 5 feet away from me.
You were 5 feet away. You were there.
Yes, ma'am.
Were you air karate kicking the car too?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you know that they were doing that?
No.
You have photographs of the car?
Yes, ma'am.
Where were your parents when you were kicking this car?
They were just leaving.
Were
Yeah, we
they
came
inside
out.
the courthouse when you went outside?
Yes, ma'am.
You went outside first.
Yes, ma'am. We were going to the car.
Hmm?
We were going to our car.
Which car?
I was going to my car.
But you weren't going to your car.
Yes, I was.
Well, what did you stop at his car for?
We got mad, and so we just started to pretend.
When did you get mad? Between the courthouse door and the time you got to his car, tell me approximately when you got mad.
I was mad
Inside the courthouse?
Yes, ma'am.
So you didn't just get mad, you were mad before you left the courthouse.
Yes, ma'am.
And what about you? Were you mad or you just following?
I was mad too, ma'am.
What were you mad at?
For him getting away.
Getting away with doing what?
Throwing a softball at me, ma'am.
And is that what this case was about that you were in court about?
Yes, ma'am.
Were you hurt when the softball hit you?
Yes, ma'am.
Where did the softball hit you?
On my bottom lip on the left.
Mm-hmm.
And I've got a scar.
And what happened? Did the judge dismiss that case?
Yes.
So your sons were angry?
Yes.
You subsequently got a restraining order against them in March.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So that then there are now mutual restraining orders.
Yes, ma'am. Correct.
Okay.
Ma'am. My attorney's paralegal. I have an affidavit from her saying that she was there and
No.
seen it.
No. I only take witnesses, not affidavits.
Well, she could not be here today because she was at a case with my attorney.
That's not my problem. That's your problem. I don't take affidavits. But I believe your son, and I don't believe the fact that they were angry and they just went outside and air karate kicked it, and as a result of something else, your car got damaged. Car looks like a relatively new car. Is it a new car?
Yes, ma'am. It's a 2000 Buick Regal.
Yeah, and you get absolutely no satisfaction air karate kicking a car. You get satisfaction when you actually kick it, right, Bird?
That's right.
That's right.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Anthony Downs says 11-year-old Tyler Nagel, 11-year-old Jared Barnett, and 13-year-old Jevin Barnett vandalized his car. The children deny the charge.
So how much did it cost you to fix the car, sir? I have a lot of different bills here. Was it $500? Or
That was what we had to pay at the end, yes, ma'am.
was your deductible?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, that's what I thought. Okay, So now we come to March 8th. You have a counterclaim. Your counterclaim says that he violated the restraining order. And that's the only thing that I'm going to hear. Somebody want to tell me about it?
We do not deny that the boys were in a place where they should not have been. But we are denying all of the allegations.
Good. And I find that they kicked his car. I find that based upon several things. Quiet and listen. Okay. I don't believe them that they never came into contact with the car with their shoes or their feet. I believe that they were angry because little brother over here got hit with a ball. They felt it was his fault. Judge dismissed the case. They went outside, and little boys don't get any satisfaction air karateing a car. They get satisfaction if they actually come into contact with the car. And unless the air karate kick fairy did this damage to the car, somebody did it. So I find that they did it. Now let's move to your counterclaim, madam, which is the only thing I'm going to hear right now. Got a restraining order? You say that there was continual harassment after that.
After we filed the restraining order.
How are you related to this case?
He's suing me too, because those are my children.
Which children?
This one and this one.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, I was coming home from picking up my son Jared from the roller rink, and I pushed the button to open up my garage door, and he was coming from the side of my yard, down my driveway, and in front of me.
Yes.
So I called her husband, because my husband was gone, and he came over, and then we called the police.
And what happened?
They went over there and talked to him, and he said that he was in bed sleeping at the time, and that there was nothing we could do because there wasn't a third party involved.
So you saw him walk from the side of your house?
Yeah.
What's
Well,
next?
he was running, ma'am.
Running. What's next?
I have pictures where he was on 3 different occasions taking his children to school. I have pictures of him driving by the house where he could have taken 3 to 4 other routes, which were shorter than the one he took, but I feel he took these just to make himself known that he was there.
So he drove his children to school and he could have taken a different route and avoided going on your street. Is that what you're saying?
3
it's
or
not
4
harassment.
different
What's
routes.
next? Anything else?
Yes, ma'am.
I don't want to hear you.
I still have 2 court documents stating that there was no damage to the car.
Listen carefully to me. I find that there was damage to the car as a result of your boys kicking the car. They practically confessed. The only thing they didn't confess to was that their feet, when they were doing the karate kicks, actually came in contact with the car. I don't have to repeat it to you 20 times. They were seen doing karate kicks to the car, and there's damage to a brand new car. Should have watched them more carefully. Your counterclaim's dismissed for harassment. Listen to me. The matter was resolved as of February 16th. The only thing that I'm entertaining is the damage to your car. Listen to me very carefully. That cost you $500, right?
And a car rental.
I don't care about the car
We had to
rental.
rent a car because it was getting fixed.
Do you think that I believe that when there is an ongoing problem with harassment between 2 families, listen to me very carefully, you're not receiving. When there is ongoing problems with 2 families, like there is with these 2 families involving children, that all the adults aren't a little at fault? I believe that they're all a little at fault. The adults. All the adults.
Can I say something? The day that the restraining order took place is the day that, before this court date, they said I did this to her house.
I'm dismissing her counterclaim for harassment, sir. You have to understand that. If you listened instead of had your own thing going on in your head, you would understand that. I don't find driving down a street or coming from the side of her house harassment. Do you understand that?
Yes, ma'am.
Now, so now you're in a receiving mode. So being in a receiving mode, I'm telling you, sir, that I believe that when there is an ongoing pattern that requires police, prosecutors, detectives, court personnel to waste their time to deal with childish behavior and adults are involved, you don't get your car rental. You got it?
But I didn't do the
But
damage.
you do get your out-of-pocket expenses for them kicking your car, which they did. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $500. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
They had beaten Michael up several times.
He was found guilty of assault battery against my son Jared.
They had me down, so I was kicking and punching, trying to get my way out of the fight.
The father should have just broke it up, had boys shake their
Right.
hands, and go on with life.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Kettleson versus Kettleson. Step forward, please.
28-year-old cashier Jennifer Kettleson is suing her brother, 25-year-old welder Nathaniel Kettleson, for unpaid loans, the return of her belongings, and damages from an assault. Nathaniel is countersuing for storage fees.
Ms. Kettleson, the defendant is your brother. I've read your papers, your complaint, and your answer. Nowhere in the complaint or the answer do I see the need for any child witnesses, so I'm going to have her take this child outside.
Come on, buddy.
All right. According to what I've read, you were living in Alaska with your children. Things weren't going well there. You spoke with your brother. Your brother offered to open his house to you if you wanted to relocate from Alaska to Montana, where he lived with his family. You sold some stuff, packed up the rest, and moved in with your brother. Things did not work out. You got into a major brouhaha with him, either a week or two later. According to you, he kicked you out of the house.
Right.
You want him to pay for the following: $500, which is what you say it cost you for a motel to stay with your family. $1,400, which is the amount that you say you had to borrow for airline tickets because someone else said that you could come to stay with them in New York. A couple of $1,000s for your aggravation. In addition, you claimed that he had borrowed some money from you.
That's correct.
Several $100s, and he didn't pay you back all of the money. Right?
Correct.
Mr. Kettleson, your brother, has a counterclaim. His counterclaim is you left, and you left a whole bunch of your stuff there, and then he and his family were relocating. Because he was a nice guy, he took your stuff with him when he relocated, and the van wasn't big enough to hold his stuff, so he had to put his stuff in storage, and he wants you to pay for the storage for his stuff because he took better care of your stuff, right?
That's correct.
Are you all nuts or what? Ms. Kettleson, if you go and live with somebody, a member of your family, and things don't work out, you believe that there's a contract, and the contract existed between you and your brother to provide a home for you and your children, even if the situation became intolerable? And that's why you believe he's responsible for this $1,900 in expenses you had to move out of his house?
Your Honor, he called me up and he said that we can come down and stay with him. And he seemed very, very polite about it and everything. And he had to convince me to come down.
You're a big adult. Do you think if a living arrangement doesn't work out with a relative, you're entitled to further relocation expenses?
Yes, I do.
Wrong. I don't have to hear anymore. Forget it. That doesn't happen. And your aggravation as a result of that also doesn't happen. You take your chances. You move from Alaska, where you weren't doing well, to Montana in the hopes that you would do better. Didn't work out, so you moved on. That's not a lawsuit. That's called unfortunate.
Your Honor, he said that he would be sending my stuff to me. I have a letter from him about that, and...
Okay, so he has some of your belongings.
Right.
Fine, let's talk about the loans first. We'll talk about the belongings second. Loans, when did you lend him money?
I lent him money on October 10th, or 18th.
How much?
$300.
Is that right?
That's correct.
Did you pay her back?
I paid $200 of that back.
You have any proof of that?
No.
She says you paid back $150.
Yes.
Wasn't expecting it to go this far.
Okay. What was the next loan? When was that?
October 18th.
What were the circumstances surrounding that loan?
He brought his daughter over so I can watch her and while he went somewhere, and he asked me for $100.
Is that right?
I believe so, yes.
Did you give her back that money?
No, I did not.
Fine. So you owe her $250. That's easy. What else?
It says right here, I will get my taxes back in about 2 weeks. It should be enough to mail your stuff. What do you want me to do with the stuff that you left with Maurice? Don't worry, I am going to send all that you left there.
What kind of stuff do you have?
My computer, my belongings, my
Don't take my belongings.
Anything
Your computer.
and
Okay, my computer, our baby books.
There's no baby books.
Yes, there is. My kids' clothes. I have a leather jacket in there. Picture frames, beanie babies, sleeping bags, all sorts of things.
Okay. Did you send him any money to send you back that stuff?
No, he was supposed to send it with the money that he owes me.
Well, that's fine. You have all that stuff? It's
Oh,
all
yeah.
packed
Oh,
up?
yes.
And you owe her $250. Do you
Yes.
think it'll cost more than $250 to send it?
Far more.
How much?
It was $174 a box. She wants it insured and priority mail and everything else with it. It was basically going to round off to about $200 a box to mail
Your
her stuff.
Honor, when I...
Just a minute. How many boxes of stuff do you think you have?
2 boxes, about 3 feet by 3 feet by 3 feet, stuffed full.
And how much do you think that that's going to cost?
About $200 a box to mail it.
So about $400.
$400 total to mail it.
Do you want to spend that?
No, I went to the post office in Montana and I asked them how much it is, and they said $50 for 70 pounds.
Well, I'm not going to guess how much it is to mail all your stuff back. He's not responsible to you to mail all your stuff back.
He said right here that he will. So he's
not
responsible.
No, he's not responsible for paying for it. It's your stuff. You left it there.
He owes me the money. He was
Fine, you're not, Miss Kettleson. He owes you $250. What if it costs $500 to mail back your stuff?
It doesn't. I went to the post office and it costs $50 for 70 pounds
I made sure that those 2 boxes were less than 70 pounds.
How did you make sure of that?
Because I know how much I brought down in those boxes.
Ms. Kittleson, you're going to have to make arrangements for payments. The stuff is all boxed. He's prepared to turn it over to you. You have to make arrangements to get it. That's your job. Do you understand?
Yes, I do.
Good. In the meantime, he's going to give you the $250 that he owes you, and that may help to defray some of your costs.
He should also pay for the tickets, at least from Montana to New York.
Oh, he's not paying for that at all. I just explained that to you.
Okay, then the hotel and stuff.
He's not paying for that either.
He should have to, because it was his fault that I had to leave. He said, come on down here and stay with me. You can stay with me until you get settled. And then he...
And then there was a fight.
Yes. And
it didn't work out. So you left. And evidently you left not under terrible circumstances.
Oh, yes, it was.
Well, you said the next day you were babysitting for his daughter.
2 days later.
2 days later, you were babysitting for his daughter, which is when you came in. Miss Kettleson, get over it. He doesn't pay for your airfare. He doesn't pay for your hotel. He pays you the money that he owes you, which is $250, and you make arrangements to get your stuff, which is boxed, period.
I have to pay $1,349 because for my airfare ticket from Montana to New York because of the way he was to me.
No, no, no.
Same
Yes.
No, Miss Kettleson.
$1,349 she
No,
could have rented a place to live in Montana.
Miss Kettleson, what if you decided to relocate to Paris? And the airfare to Paris is $5,000. You think you should pay $5,000?
If that's the case.
Bye. You count the suits likewise dismissed. It's nonsense.
Parties are excused. You may step out. Yeah, it's case number 115 on the calendar in the matter of Taylor versus Jones. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated. Gentlemen, have seats, please.
It is clear that you two ladies are neighbors from the complaint and answer that I've read, and it is your claim, Miss Taylor, that the defendant assaulted you over the way your car was parked. She says that she was defending herself after you sprayed her with mace. So I'd like you to explain to me what kind of housing complex you live in.
It's an apartment housing complex, low income. Here's some pictures of my...
I want to see where the cars are parked, because this...
This is how the cars were exactly parked.
Let me see, please.
My car is back here. This is hers, and this is her boyfriend's.
Okay, let me see. Okay, yours is the blue car.
Yes.
And when was this picture taken?
That was like a month after. That was on the 12th, May 12th.
But it's not the date of the incident?
No, ma'am.
Now, according to your complaint, the defendant, who I assume you've had difficulty with before, came to your house one morning and asked you to move your car because your car was parked so close to her car she couldn't get her car out.
Yeah.
And what time did she come to the house?
Around 9 o'clock in the morning, banging at my door.
And what did she say when she came to your door?
When I came to the door, she was hollering about me moving my car so she can get out, or whatever the case was. And
no, not whatever the case was. Moving your car so that she could get her car out.
Yes,
Okay.
she was hollering.
Now, when had you parked your car?
When? The night before that, when I got in.
Was her car there?
Yes.
How close did you park your car to her car?
About that close. I had to parallel park.
Well, this shows that there's plenty of space for her to get out.
Like you said, we've
Were
had
you on her
problems.
bumper? Were
No.
you on her bumper?
No.
Was she on your bumper?
Yes, she was.
Of course you were on her bumper, otherwise she wouldn't have come to your house. She was trying to get to work.
Okay.
Why would she come to your house if you weren't on her bumper? Right? Come on. You have to
She's
use
had-
common sense, Miss Taylor.
Okay.
Okay? And the fact that you didn't want to move your car, or that you've been having difficulty with her, nobody takes the time to go to your house in the morning and say, move your car, get angry, unless there's a reason that you can't move a car.
May I say something, ma'am?
Yeah.
I went to get my keys to move my car.
Just a minute. She comes to the door, move your car, and you said what to her?
I have to go and get... I didn't say anything. I was going upstairs. Okay, I was going upstairs, and I'm getting my keys.
Did you say anything to her?
I said okay, and went upstairs to get my keys.
Okay, go ahead.
My mace is on my keys. I went to get my keys, and I looked outside, and she was... Well, I heard when I was going upstairs, I heard her say she was going to move. She was going to hit my car. I looked outside, and I see she was doing the U-turn to get up on my bumper. I called the police, told them. She said she's going to move my car.
Just a second. She was doing a U-turn?
Yes, because her boyfriend pulled his car out by that time. I told the police, and it's in my police report, she said she's going to hit my car, quote. When I was saying that, she went around, made a U-turn, and she hit my car. I told her she just hit my car, I'm going out there. I went out there to make sure it wasn't any damages. It wasn't no damages. She was hollering. We were arguing. It was cold outside. I told her, I'm not going to be out here arguing with you. It's cold. I have on my night clothes. I'm sleepy. I'm just going to pay you dust. She was still arguing, following me up to my door, which is around the corner, and hers is right here. She's following me up to my door. She's still arguing and hollering or whatever.
What was she saying to you?
Telling me I'm getting on her nerves because she, wait a minute, well, you got the picture. She always parked by that pole. When I park by that pole, she just, I don't know, she don't like it because that's her, quote unquote, that's her spot, that's her pole. She has said it before, that is her pole. So when I park by that pole, I just get on her nerves when I do that. When I park on the street, because I usually park in the parking lot, she just get on my nerves. I park in the parking lot in the wintertime and park on the street in the summertime. I just get on her nerves. So I guess that just ticked her off.
Go ahead.
She came up on my porch. She was calling me B's and H's or whatever the case. So I called her too. You know, and I'm like, you know what? Forget it. You've been wanting me to sit out here and argue with her since 3 years that I've been living there. She wanted me to go out there and argue with her, and I never did. I paid her dust. Didn't even speak to her too many times. So I'm just like, I'm not gonna even go through with this. I'm going back to bed. It's cold. I gotta go to work. She come up to me and she swing on me. So I have my mace in my hand anyway. So I spray it with mace. She grabbed my coat.
Just a second. You said she swung on you. Exactly what did she do?
Well, in other words, she hit me with a clothes fist. She swung her clothes. When she came up, when I was going in the house.
Where on your body did she hit you with a clothes?
In my face, right here.
Okay. So what did you do?
I sprayed her with mace. While I was spraying her with mace, I don't know if her boyfriend was trying to grab her or whatever, but he was right there on the porch as well. And there was a stick around in the vicinity or whatever. She threw my coat on the ground, and I go to pick up my coat. She picked up the stick. She tried to hit me in my face with the stick. I blocked it with my hand and grabbed it with this hand. Then her boyfriend grabbed me and just like turned me around, and I went in the house.
Did she hit you with the stick?
Yes.
Where?
On my hand. She hit my hand.
Okay. Did you have any injuries?
Yes.
What were your injuries?
My finger was broke. I couldn't work for like 2 months.
Let me see the report.
That's the report and the medical bills. Here's my x-rays.
And now I need the police report.
You only need the police?
And now I need the police report.
That's my police report.
Good.
Police report. X-rays. Now.
Okay, now I'll hear your version of the story.
Hi. Okay, Your Honor, what happened was that morning I had just got up to get ready to go to work. So I was sitting up watching my gospel like I usually do on Sunday mornings. So I looked out the window and I seen her car on my bumper. Now we've been feuding for 2 years. Okay, I have a 7-year-old son that I have to get up every morning at 6:30 and send him to school. She don't have any kids. She plays her TV all night long. She have a dog that barks all night long. Every time when I go to her door and try to talk to her and I say, could you please turn your TV down? She turns it up even louder.
So you haven't been getting along. You looked outside the window.
Okay.
I
looked outside.
March 25th and you saw her car on your bumper.
I looked outside. I seen her car was on my bumper. So I said, by her being the way she is when I go try to talk to her, I said, I'm not going there with Juanita today. So what happened was I sat there, and then I looked at my watch, and I seen it was getting close time for me to go to work. So I went around there, and I knocked at her door. I said, could you move your car off my bumper? She said, I ain't moving. And that's when she slammed the door in my face and went on upstairs. Okay, I left from her door. So then I went on in the house, thinking maybe she'll come and move the car. I sat there for a while. She never came to move it. So then what I did, I went back around to her house. I knocked at her door again. That's when she came outside. She sprayed me. Okay, me and her, we passed words. She sprayed me with mace first before I even attempt to do anything to her.
It's not what you say in your complaint, in your answer.
She sprayed me.
No. Pay attention.
Okay.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Juanita Taylor says neighbor Deborah Jones assaulted her. Deborah says Juanita sprayed her with mace.
It's not what you say in your answer, Miss Jones. You just testified that you went to her house once, and then you went back to your house and waited to see if she would move the car. You went back to her house again, she opened the door and sprayed you with mace.
Right.
Is that what you just told me?
That's right.
Well, I'm going to read to you what you wrote in your answer. She refused to move her car and we started arguing. I walked away from her. Then she followed me around the building. The next thing I knew, she sprayed my eyes with mace. That's what you wrote in your answer. That's different from what you just told me.
But what happened, Your Honor, I left her house. When we got into a fight, that's when she followed me around the building. What I meant to say is, after she maced me, she followed me around the building.
No.
Okay.
So what you're telling me is she opened the door.
She opened the door.
She sprayed you with mace.
Yes, she did.
And you just walked away.
In my nightgown.
Wait a minute.
Quiet. And you just walked away.
Okay, what happened, Your Honor? When she sprayed me and her got to tussling, and I pulled her around the building, trying to defend myself. That's what happened.
Where'd you get the stick from?
Huh?
Where'd you get the stick
It was on the ground. She was macing me. I was defending myself to keep her from hurting me.
Why didn't you have your boyfriend move his car?
What happened was, he tried to move his car, Your Honor, but what happened, his battery had went down on his car.
But he got his battery fixed.
Huh?
Somehow it got fixed because he did move his car.
You know how it got fixed? Okay.
I'm asking you a question. Somehow it got fixed because he moved his car.
What he did was, once she moved her car, he went and bought some cables. And
When did she move her car?
What'd you say?
When did she move her car?
She moved her car after the policemen got there.
That's true. I was telling them she was on my bumper, and I was giving them a small version of the story. They told me to go on and move my car up. I went back outside with my nightgown on when I saw the police coming. The only thing she said was true, was that I did move my car up and the stick was on the ground.
Where did you buy the mace?
Kmart. We need a license. We can't have pepper spray up into a certain degree. I've looked into all of this.
You bought it at Kmart?
Yes.
But when I'm
Look
saying,
at it.
Your Honor, she
It's not
maced
nothing.
me first. If
Look
she
at it.
would have moved
Here are
her
my keys
car
right here.
like I asked her to, none of this would have even started.
There's no question in my mind. Listen to me, Miss Jones. There isn't a question in my mind that Miss Taylor pulled her car up on your bumper. The two of you have been feuding for a long time. You went to her house in the morning. You were angry. There also isn't a question in my mind, Miss Taylor, that you answered her when she said, move your car, and she didn't say it in a very nice way, would you please move your car? But you also said to her, I'm not moving anything. The only reason you went outside was because she threatened to hit your car. You watched her. You saw that she did, in fact, hit your car, even though it was no damage, so you went outside. You should have moved your car.
May I say something before you go back?
Sure.
We have had problems constantly.
What are the problems, Miss Taylor?
My TV being up too loud, my music being on when I'm not even home. Again, I work third shift. She would say I play my music late.
Is it possible, Miss Taylor, that you're playing your television too loud? I just want you to think carefully. Is it possible?
Ma'am, I work third shift. No, it's not.
Has she asked you to turn it down?
She's asked me to turn everything down.
Okay. Is it possible that she hears these things through the walls of the apartment?
Your Honor, we've had conversations through the wall. She's complained about my water. She's complained about my bath water running too loud. I come home when I'm not working the full shift. I come home 3 o'clock in the morning running bath water. I hear her over there cussing and fussing. She's too loud over there. I'm coming home running a bath water. She has sent police over to my house when I have not even been there. He has been there for just silly reasons. He would tell me the police just left. Well, what are you doing? I just got in, and they're asking for the lease owner.
You think she's got nothing better to do?
I don't think so, because she's heard conversations. She has heard a conversation going on between me and my best friend, and now we cuss to each other, and I be on the phone, my windows will be open or whatever, and we talk about each other. She has sat there. A neighbor came to me and told me, well, number one, how do I know that you were... Okay, well, they have come to me and told me things that I've said on the phone. Put it like that.
Okay. Let's start on the 24th of March. The 24th of March, You did a very foolish thing. Knowing that you had, and that you were in a rather acrimonious relationship with your neighbor, you exacerbated that situation by pulling your car right up to the bumper of her car. There's no question in my mind that you did that.
Okay.
Because despite the fact that she may be angry, she's on her way to work. She's not going to take the time to go out, come up to you, start an argument, if she could get her car out without doing that. So she came up to your house. I'm speaking now.
Okay.
So you did a foolish thing because the two of you really don't like each other. And if you don't really like each other, then what you're supposed to do is stay as far away as possible. And that may mean even parking your car someplace else, but certainly not parking your car right up on her bumper, which makes everybody very angry. Doesn't that make you angry? I'm speaking.
Okay.
Does it make you angry when somebody parks up on your bumper?
Yeah.
It makes me really angry if somebody parks up on my bumper and I can't get out. Number two, I also believe that you had absolutely no intention of moving your car at the time that she came screaming at your door at 9 o'clock in the morning to move your car because you don't like her and you figured let her sweat for a while. And the only reason you went outside was because you heard her say she was going to hit your car. Now, there is never a way that I am going to be able to tell who sprayed who with mace first and who hit who with a stick first. Certainly.
Your Honor, she hit me with a closed fist first.
She
then
sprayed me
this
first.
is how it went.
David is
She
the
hit me with a
witness.
closed. If she hit me with a
there.
If
Were
I
you there,
sprayed her,
David?
then how
was
did
there.
she hit?
Step up, please.
It was just me, her, and David.
How you doing,
I don't
Your
know
Honor?
who he
Just
is.
a second.
He wasn't
I don't
there,
want to
Your
hear
Honor.
anything.
No, he was not there.
Quiet.
Okay.
You were there.
Yes, ma'am, I was there.
Okay. How long have you been living in this apartment?
Oh, I don't live there.
You were just there that night.
Yes. The battery in my car had went down, so I left my car there. I came back over the next morning and asked Deborah, could she give me a jump? She didn't have no cables. So what it was, I pushed my car back. She never did come out to move her car, period. I pushed my car back, took her car, went up to the parts store and got some jumper cables. Came back, her car was still in the same place. I pulled, by me pushing my car back.
I just want to hear what
If I
happened.
didn't
What,
push-
if anything, that you saw involving these two? Now, look at me. I want you to tell me what you saw. Make sure, sir, that you tell me only what you saw.
Okay. When she knocked on the door, she come down, and when she come down, she had some keys in her hand. Then we standing out on the porch. They're arguing. Next thing I know, I see her do this. And that's when they started fighting.
Your
I
Honor,
broke the fight up.
if I may, if it was a big deal when she went out and looked at the car, she could have sent the police over to my house like she did all those other nights.
No, I didn't call.
You could have called the police.
Don't speak to each other. Sit
Your
down.
Honor,
Sit
she
down.
could have called the police
I think that
and
you
told
both
her.
behaved. I
told
think that
them.
you both behaved badly. I think what you should have done, Miss Jones, is call the police. Yeah. That's what you should have done. I believe that you were both injured. The fact that you had a graver injury than she did, which was you had a broken finger as a result of being hit with a stick. She did not hit you with that stick until after you maced her, which are the injuries that you are complaining about. Now, you could have taken care of the situation before it even started by
No, I
not
could
doing.
not.
You're
There was no
interrupting.
way.
You're
I'm
interrupting
sorry.
me. Oh no, you could have taken care of the situation before it even started by not parking in a situation where you knew you were going to exacerbate an already hostile relationship with the defendant. You chose the night before, when you parked, to park, and you said to me her car was parked there. It wasn't as if her car came in after your car was parked. Her car was parked there. You chose to park your car in such a way that she could not get out. Now, the fact that she came to your door the next morning, she may have asked you to move your car. I believe that you had no intention of moving your car. You're angry with her, you're annoyed at her, and you didn't like her attitude.
Your Honor, her
I'm
car is-
speaking! Now, there was a mutual assault. You just got hurt worse. Your case is dismissed.
Parties are excused. You may step out. Your Honor, this is case number 214 on the calendar in the matter of Hadley versus Nieves Pinch. You're welcome, Judge. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated. Sir, have a seat, please.
Who is Mr. Nieves?
I'm Mr. Nieves.
Miss Hadley, according to the complaint that I've read, you and Mr. Nieves had been friends for quite a long time. and there came a point when you were having difficulty with your boyfriend, and he moved out of the home that you were sharing together, so you asked Mr. Nieves if you could live with him.
Right.
And Mr. Nieves was living with Mr. Pinch, and they said, yes, come and live with us.
Yes.
Are you frightened?
A little bit.
Are you nervous?
Yeah.
Okay. Then, according to you, an incident occurred, which we'll get into in a minute. You went into the hospital for a while. When you came out, you found that they had packed your stuff and moved you out.
Correct.
And you claim kept some of your stuff. They either had or sold or destroyed. The defendants have a counterclaim, which I have a sense you would not have pursued but for this lawsuit. Is that right?
Exactly.
But you were pretty annoyed that after what you perceived to be your kindness, she has the audacity to sue you. So now you are counterclaiming for things like loss of your security deposit because of this incident that we're going to get into, some rent, expenses, some bills. All right. Why did you and your boyfriend separate?
We were just having a lot of problems because I was an emotional wreck. I was trying to deal with my mother's death. I wasn't working at the time. I was just having a lot of problems.
Did he move out or did you move out?
I kicked him out.
And then you couldn't afford the apartment yourself?
Right.
Now, when you came to move in with the defendants, I understand that you started to invite the boyfriend over.
Yes, and I did ask if they minded if he came over, and they said no.
But according to your papers, there was still a lot of arguing going on between you and your boyfriend.
Correct. We were trying to work things out.
In their house?
Correct.
Is this the boyfriend?
Yes.
So you left your house where you were arguing with your boyfriend, you moved into their house and you were arguing with your boyfriend, and then on a particular day an incident occurred. You want to tell me what happened?
I had enough. I had a nervous breakdown and I stabbed myself.
Where did you stab yourself?
In the leg.
Stabbed yourself in the leg to make a point to your boyfriend?
Correct.
And you did that on the carpet?
Right.
What color carpet was it?
Tan.
And what did you try to do in order to get out the stains, the blood stains?
They had some carpet cleaner stuff, or what I thought was carpet cleaner, and I sprayed it on the floor and didn't realize that it had bleach in it.
So it ruined the carpet?
Correct. One little spot.
Okay. Now, after the stabbing incident, you went to the hospital.
Mm-hmm.
Just the first time you had stabbed yourself?
Mm-hmm.
How long were you in the hospital?
Overnight.
When you left the hospital, where did you go?
To their house to get some clothes.
And where were you going to go from there?
To my sister's for a couple of days.
And what happened when you went to their house?
I had seen there were a few things, when I went inside, there were a few things in the hallway, and Jason had told me that Edwin had put them outside and he brought them back in because it was raining.
So you took some clothes?
Yes.
And you said, I'll come back for the rest of this stuff later?
Right.
Is that what you said?
Yes.
And you went to your sister's house?
Mm-hmm.
How long did you stay in your sister's house?
One night.
And then where did you go?
I came back to get my things, and they were all outside.
What things are you talking about?
I had a whole apartment worth of stuff.
Like what?
Valuables that my mother had given me. I had her.
Give me an example.
Her jewelry. I had her hair. I had her clothes, plus my things, my clothes, my shoes, my bed, mattresses, blankets, everything.
You moved in with a bed?
Yes.
Where's the bed?
The bed's in our house. We have the pictures of the bed at the house right now.
At your house?
Mm-hmm.
And she's welcome to have that?
Yeah.
Why would I want it after it sat in the rain for several hours, which I have the pictures of it sitting in the rain and it's all wet?
We have
the pictures of it that it's perfectly fine.
What kind of bed is it? Wood bed?
It was a wood bed.
It doesn't get destroyed in a couple of hours.
But that's not the point. The mattresses are going to be ruined. They're going to smell like mildew. You can't wash mattresses.
Did you go and look at them?
No, I haven't even spoken to them.
Well, you should. Now, Mr. Nieves, what property of Miss Hadley's do you have in your house?
Her teddy bears, we have plates. We got some pictures if you want to see them.
Can I see them, please?
We have Christmas ornaments. We have her makeup still in our house. Like,
we have her CDs, we have her cordless phone, we have her curtains.
Curling iron, hair dryer.
Where's the list? Yeah, this is a list of everything that we have.
Okay, can I see it, please? Now, there were some items that you say you did give to Salvation Army, or?
Right. After we put the stuff outside, it had started to rain, and she came with a truck to pick it up and didn't take any of the stuff that was outside.
It was ruined.
It was not ruined. It started to rain maybe 5 minutes, 10 minutes, and then we brought it back inside. And it was inside plastic bags, inside boxes, and it was fine. We put it downstairs in the basement, and then for 2.5 months, we tried to contact her.
My witness seen this.
I'm going to interrupt.
We called her sisters several times. She never called us back. She never came to see if her stuff was ruined or not. She never opened bags when it was outside. We had to sign a new lease because we had new landlords, and part of the lease was that we had to get rid of the stuff. And after 2.5 months, we would assume that the property was abandoned after that long of time, so.
You did, in fact, take some of the stuff upstairs.
Right.
Yeah. You have 4 small plates, 4 big plates, 3 smaller plates, 6 cups, a curling iron, blow dryer, candlestick holders, picture frames, 2 phones, movies, 5 CDs, teddy bears, makeup in a box, bed set, curtains, Christmas ornaments, and your books. Now, why didn't you go over and get these things?
They were sitting in the rain, and I'm not going to take, the boxes were ruined. They were wet, they were soggy. I could not pick them up and take them.
Just pay attention, Miss Hadley. The day that you brought the truck over, why didn't you take your things?
We didn't have an actual truck. We had a little Jimmy SUV that belonged to Carrie.
Yes.
And Carrie had her stuff in there, plus she was trying to fit our stuff.
Who's Carrie?
Carrie is the chairperson for USA Boxing. She's my sister's trainer, and she's very close to our family.
Just a minute. So you didn't bring an empty truck over there?
No.
Why not?
Because Carrie's stuff was in there. Because we came straight from the gym.
And where were you taking her stuff?
Nowhere. That was it's Carrie's truck. Carrie decided to leave her stuff in her truck. That's her business.
Well, why didn't you take her stuff out?
I don't know why.
I'm speaking to you. Why didn't you take her stuff out for a couple of hours so that you could go and pick up your things?
I don't know why she didn't take her stuff out.
Why did you ask her?
Because Carrie's just her own person.
Who's supposed to take care of you? You're supposed to take care of you. Rent a U-Haul it.
With what license?
Miss Hadley, you got it?
Oh, yeah.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Andrea Hadley says ex-roommates Edwin Nieves and Jason Pinch damaged her property by leaving it out in the rain. Edwin and Jason say Andrea ruined their carpet when she stabbed herself in the leg.
All right. Let me hear about your counterclaim.
The counterclaim's about the rugs.
I assume the counterclaim was mainly about the rugs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The rugs belong to the landlord?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but we had to pay for any damages. Like in the lease, it says any damages done to the apartment, we have to pay for it out of our own pocket to try to like fix it up and make the apartment better.
Can I see?
We have the pictures. The dates are on the back. It was the week of the 6th. She tried to clean the rugs out with bleach, which made blood stains worse. It made a ring around them. It didn't.
Got it.
Yeah.
Now, do you have any proof that you forfeited your security deposit because of the rugs?
Yes.
Yeah.
This is our original lease saying that we paid them $550. And this is the new one in the receipt saying that we had to pay it again July 1st.
Yeah, we actually had to come up with another $550 because we had to like re-sign the lease and do a.
So what it really cost you out of pocket was $550. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. Miss Hadley, I suggest that you get your sister to rent a U-Haul it and go and pick up all the things that they have waiting for you over at the house. You can do that within 5 days of today's date.
Would you like to see my photos of my stuff sitting outside?
No. Should have taken it. It was your responsibility.
My sister does not have a license.
Well, how was she driving a Jimmy truck?
She wasn't. Carrie was driving.
So then let Carrie rent a truck.
It's not Carrie's responsibility. She's not my mother.
It's yours. It's your responsibility. I don't care how you do it. It's not their responsibility. They're not your mother either.
We told them that we would be there at 8 o'clock. We were there at 8:02, and my things were sitting outside and had been sitting outside for several hours. And you can see it right in the pictures. You can see the rain that has been soaked into the boxes and so forth.
That's because, Your Honor, when she came home from the hospital and 2 boxes were packed, she went ballistic because we had packed up the stuff and threatened to burn our house down, break our stuff, and said she was going to break into the house and break it. And I have a statement from my friend Hannah that was there.
She was psychologically fragile at that time.
Yeah, when she did come to with Carrie with the truck, we had a police escort her through the house to make sure that
no, we had to call the police
don't
because
interrupt.
you weren't going to let us in.
Don't interrupt.
Exactly, because all of your stuff was outside.
Yeah, we had a police escort her through the house because we didn't want her to come in the house because she was threatening us. She was threatening to break the things in the house. So with the police officer coming through the house, we had her like go through the rooms, get whatever she had in the house, and then she left.
So your claim is dismissed. You pick up your stuff. I will cut an order that you can pick up all the things on that list within 5 days. Your request for a monetary award is denied. On your counterclaim, however, on your counterclaim, however, I am awarding you $500, and that's because that's what it will probably cost to replace the carpeting that she purposefully, despite the fact that it was probably an episode, a psychiatric episode, she caused damage to your property. So these people were trying to be nice to you, Miss Hadley. That's what they were trying to do.
No,
You don't
actually,
sue
they
people.
weren't.
You don't sue people because they're trying to be
I'm
nice
not trying
to you.
to
That's
sue
all.
them because of I want their
That's
money.
all.
I'm suing them
All right,
because of the
excuse,
emotional.
You may step out.
What they did was wrong.
There was blood stains on the carpet. She wasn't apologetic for anything.
If somebody's your friend, you don't tell them to move in and then you throw them out.
I let her come in, I let her stay there, and like she took advantage of that.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Sponsel versus Wilson. Step forward, please.
22-year-old student Kimberly Sponsel is suing 23-year-old restaurant hostess Rachel Wilson for a cracked windshield. Kimberly claims a drunken Rachel jumped on the hood of her car.
Ms. Sponsel, on the 9th day of June of this year, you're driving home?
Yes.
And it's about 2 o'clock in the morning.
2:15, yeah.
And all of a sudden, the defendant lands on the windshield of your car, breaking your car window. You want her to pay for it.
Yes.
She says it's not her fault.
Correct.
Explain it to me.
One night, one friend, one bar. Over the
What?
course of, I was at a bar one night, and over the course of 3 hours and 20 minutes, I had 2 drinks and 2 shots. He had 2 beers and 2 shots. We left our drinks unattended quite a bit and went out to smoke cigarettes several times, came back to the bar, finished our drinks. They called last call. We're exiting the bar. And as I am walking up the stairs, boom, blackness. I blacked out completely. He recalls telling me to...
Don't tell me what he recalled telling you. Don't tell me what
Okay,
anybody
well,
else
I
told
don't
you.
remember anything then. From that moment, I woke up elsewhere. So,
Where did you wake up?
in jail.
So you don't recall what happened?
I believe, I know this is me believing, that I think somebody put something in my drink. I know how to drink. I have drinking for a long time. I know what I can handle, and through no fault of my own, I was drugged.
What were you charged with?
Public drunkenness, which I was already tried for in court and pled no contest. And then vandalism.
Okay. So you were tried.
Right.
You pled no contest, which is a plea of guilty. I'm sure the judge explained that to you.
I
You plead
figured
no
I was
contest.
damned if I do and damned if I don't.
Just follow my questions.
I'm following you.
You pled no contest, which I am sure the judge told you was the same as a plea of guilty.
No, neither did the public defender make me aware of that.
Well, what happened as a result of your pleading no contest?
I paid $175.
So you paid a fine.
Right,
Well, they didn't make you pay a fine unless you were found guilty of something.
right.
We just don't do that to people
I'm
in this
kind of
country.
confused, though, because whatever went down, apparently the police came, handled me. I went to jail. They claimed I was drunk. They gave me no BAC. There's no indication as to how intoxicated I was. They were just going on the fact that
And
my
you shouldn't
speech
have-
was slurred and
and
my
you
eyes
shouldn't
were
have
blurry.
pled no contest.
What should I have said? I wasn't being tried for vandalism. I
No,
was
you
being
should have-
tried for...
You should have said, I'm not guilty. You prove that I'm guilty of public intoxication. Show me a breathalyzer test. Show me a blood test. I'm not guilty. I was not drunk. But instead of pleading not guilty, you pled in effect. I can't answer these charges. And if I went to trial, I would more likely than not be found guilty. I'll plead no contest. I'll pay my fine. Now describe to me what happened at 2:15 in the morning as you're driving home.
I turned onto a street which had freeway access, and I saw the defendant in the middle of the road, and she was cursing and staggering her out. She looked obviously intoxicated to me, but...
Was she with anyone?
No, she was by herself. In the
She
middle
was
of
in
the
the
road.
middle of the road?
In the middle of the road.
So what did you do?
I was stopped, and I was kind of just watching her because I couldn't move. And then as traffic started moving, she came closer to my car. So I was kind of edging forward at the time because I didn't know what she was going to do. And then it became clear that she was going to try to pass in front of my car, so I stopped. And then she just suddenly jumped on the hood of my car and kind of crawled up to the windshield and started banging on the windshield. And she was sitting on the windshield. I was kind of scared. And within seconds, a police officer pulled her off the car, and I have the police report.
Can I see it, please?
And I have pictures of the damage.
Like to see the pictures, like to see the police report. Okay. So this is the statement of the police officer, eyewitness. He said, I saw Wilson, that's you, standing in the middle of the roadway in the 700 block of Fifth Avenue. She was staggering and walking into the path of passing cars. I went over to confront Wilson to remove her from the roadway. Before I could do this, she suddenly jumped onto the hood of the victim's car. Wilson then made obscene gestures to the occupants of the vehicle and thrust her body onto the windshield of the car. The force of her thrust caused the windshield to crack. There was approximately an 8 to 10-inch crack in the windshield directly in front of the driver's view. The officer then immediately pulled Wilson off the victim's car and placed her under arrest. After placing Wilson under arrest for vandalism, I also noticed that she was obviously intoxicated on alcohol. Her breath smelled of alcohol, her eyes were bloodshot red, and her pupils dilated. Her speech was slurred, and her language was offensive.
Judge Judy?
Yes, ma'am.
I also have a copy of the police report, and I believe you neglected to mention that I had charged a pre-existing crack to enlarge. I think that's kind of debatable. You shouldn't roll around with cracks in your windshields because they could break and enlarge. I mean...
Oh, that's true.
Right, so, I mean, who's to say...
But, Miss Wilson.
Yes, ma'am.
But for your actions that day, the windshield might have stayed with a slight crack in it for a month, a year, 2 years. But for your actions that day, the windshield would not have cracked the way it did, even if I believe you that the windshield had a prior crack. You are responsible for what you do. You are responsible, Miss Wilson, even if I believed you that you only had a couple of beers and a couple of shots, and maybe somebody, because you left your drinks unattended, drugged them, because that's your defense. Well, that's not her fault. That's your fault.
It's my fault for going out and having somebody drug me.
No, it's your fault.
Drugged.
Have you ever heard of drinks being drugged?
Right.
Have you ever heard?
People
No. Listen to me. Have you ever heard of drinks being drugged?
I guess I've heard of it. I don't really go out with that in my mind.
Well, you should go out with that in your mind.
Well, shouldn't she drive around being weary of people jumping on her car and breaking her windshield? It's the same kind of philosophy.
Can I see an estimate, please? Can I see an estimate, please? I'm not going to dignify that stupidity with an answer.
It's the same kind of thing. It's the same kind of thing. I don't go out with that.
It's raining people.
What?
In my mind.
It's raining people.
Yeah. Miss Wilson, I like people who accept responsibility for what they do. There's no question in my mind that you did not go out that evening with the intention of causing any damage to anybody else's property. You went out that evening to have a good time. You had too good a time. As a result of you having too good a time, you caused damage to the plaintiff's car in the amount of $628. Judgment for the plaintiff, that's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out. Now, this is case number 203 on the calendar, the matter of Gilbert versus George. Parties have been sworn in. Judge, you may be seated. Sir, have a seat, please.
Miss Gilbert, it is your claim that the defendant, with whom you lived for a period of time, owes you some money for charges that you allowed him to put on your credit card.
That's correct.
When did you live with the defendant?
We actually didn't live together. We were in a relationship for almost a year, beginning of September of last year.
And you say you never lived together?
No.
Just a second. I'll get to you in a minute. Did he ever stay in your home?
He did.
Who else lives in your home?
My daughter.
How old is she?
She's going to be 2 in October.
And when he stayed over in your home, did he ever stay over in your home for more than a day or two at a time?
Yes, he did. Sometimes it was, he was in and out of homes at the beginning of our relationship, so he stayed sometimes.
So he didn't have another permanent apartment when you first met?
That's correct. Stayed with his sister and me and some of his friends, different friends.
Okay. Now, at what point did you allow him to use your credit card?
After about 5 months of our relationship, we began talking seriously, and in February, the end of February of this year, he was working on a promotion and he needed to be more presentable, and because he has bad credit, he wasn't able to get any suits or anything, and I had good credit. And so he asked me to loan him some money so that he could buy suits.
And you have a credit card?
Yes, I do.
You have the February or March bill from 2001 with his purchase on it?
Yes, I do.
I'd like to see it, please.
Okay. Here's the February and March.
Thank you. There's one bill here that's underlined, March 9th, Junior Denim. What is that?
I believe the one underlined, is it Junior Denim? That would be my shorts.
Okay, so that's your bill?
Yes.
And all the rest of his, the polo stuff, ties?
Yes.
Did he pay anything towards the bill?
He paid one. The receipt is attached to the February bill. He paid in the amount of $60 in cash.
And in the final arrangements of our relationship, it ended the 26th of May. We were meeting, talking about the bill at his sister's house, and he pushed me around and pulled my hair and stuff, and
stopped paying.
That's not true. If you can
Yeah,
see, I have a restraining
okay.
order against the defendant. I mean, against the plaintiff.
I've got police reports.
Okay, I don't need to look at the police report. We're not about police report. We're about shoes and ties and shirts. Okay, Mr. George, let's hear your version.
My version is I live in my apartment with my two best friends, Miles and Marshall.
I want you to listen to me.
Sorry?
I want you to look at me and speak slowly.
Okay.
You lived in your apartment.
Right, with my two best friends, Miles and Marshall. We had a nice place. When I met Lindsay, it was the first of, let me think, must have been right after we got back from Phoenix. We went to Phoenix for...
I don't care why you went to Phoenix.
For New Year's, so it was right
I
after
don't
New Year's.
care.
January. It was in January, okay? So we got back, we got a place together, okay? I moved out with them two, you know, and we got a place together.
You mean she moved out of her old apartment?
No, she moved out of her mom or her grandma's house, and I moved out of Miles and Marshall's. You know, we all three lived together. They got another apartment. I went and moved in with her. I moved in with her.
Yes.
We lived together, and I work full-time, about 50, 60 hours a week sometimes.
Yes.
She would take me to and from work, drop me off, pick me up from work most every day.
Okay.
I would just sign my paychecks over to her because we were, you know, talking about, you know, being serious enough to get married.
How much were your paychecks?
My paychecks, I bring home about almost $2,000 every 2 weeks.
That was also untrue.
Just a second. So your defense to this action is that you paid for this by turning over your paychecks to her.
Of course.
Is that right?
My thing is I let her take care of the bills.
Show me.
I can't.
Why not?
Because I moved from Albuquerque to Phoenix, and when this case came up, I'm already living in Phoenix, so I go to the HR department at my job, and I asked them, can I get some copies of those checks where it was signed over to Lindsay Gilbert? And then they said, you know what, we can't do that for you because there's just not enough time to do that. It's a very big corporation.
He did not sign checks over to me.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Lindsay Gilbert says ex-boyfriend Tim George charged clothes on her credit card. Lindsay says she wants to be repaid.
You have the capability, Mr. George, only you, of getting proof of your defense, which is that you signed checks over to her.
Right, and
even if I believed you, sir, as of the time you separated in May, there was still an outstanding balance on this account.
I can't tell you what to do with the money that I gave her.
And it is clear that in...
It's clear you have no
I'm
idea.
speaking. I didn't hear what he said. Do I want to hear...
I can say it again if you want.
Do I want to hear what he said? Why don't you go have a talk with him, Bert?
Okay.
Find out what kind of medication he's on.
What kind are you on?
Judgment for the plaintiff
You know what
in
you
the
need to
amount
do,
of
man?
$1,093.17.
You understand?
And you're just lucky, sir, that I'm not sending you out to be tested. Because either you are drunk, high, or stupid. Pick one. That's all.
Why is our excuse? You may step out.
Whenever we were together, I moved out of her house because she was real violent.
Not true.
I've always wanted to get up there and tell Judge Judy what I thought, so today I got to do it.
Never, ever trust a guy with my money.
And now the next case.
All parties on Terrell versus Marlowe. Step forward, please.
64-year-old Mildred Terrell is suing her ex-granddaughter-in-law, 24-year-old daycare worker Love Marlowe, for destroying her furniture.
Ms. Terrell, according to your complaint, the defendant married your grandson. Is that right?
Yes.
And there came a time when they were having difficulty paying rent, so you all decided to rent a place together. And you moved in to the place with them.
Yes.
And when you moved into this new place, according to you, you brought some furniture with you.
I brought everything.
All your furniture?
All my furniture, all the dishes, everything in the house was mine.
And then there came a time when your grandson left the defendant.
I moved out before then because of trouble that was going on. And as soon as he was able to take care, he had had surgery on his shoulder, and as soon as he was capable of taking care of the baby, I did move.
They have a baby?
Yes.
How old is the baby?
18 months.
And when you moved out, did you take your things with you?
Only thing I took with me was my bed, an end table, and a chair, and my TV, and a few dishes, and a couple of pans. That's all I took. I didn't want to take everything and leave them with an empty house, because that's what it would have been. Sheets and everything were mine.
And when did your grandson leave?
They were having trouble with the house, not only the rent, but other personal problems they were having. They moved out into their apartment, and they were there, I'd say,
Now, when
2
they
months.
moved out and went into this yet another rental property, did they take all the things with them?
Yes, I told them they could borrow until they got their own.
What did they take with them?
They took my couch. I have a list here, Your Honor.
Let me take a look at the list. VCR, a couch, a lazy boy recliner, vacuum cleaner, some VHS movies, a rug, 3 end tables, a coffee table, a king-size bed, and miscellaneous stuff, linens and dishes, a dresser, those things you said they could take with them. And when did your grandson leave?
Right around the first week in January.
And where did he go? Do you know?
He came to my apartment, was there 3 or 4 days until the harassment got so bad by Love Marlowe and her family that he went to his mother's. And then he was there a while.
And where was the baby?
With him.
Where is the baby now?
With me.
She has temporary joint conservatorship of him now.
Now, when he left and came back to you for a short period of time, did he bring any of these items?
No, he didn't get out of the house with anything but the clothes on his back.
And the baby?
She took his socks, his underwear, she kept everything.
Okay, all right.
And Your
So
Honor,
what's your suit? Just a second.
and one of the times when she was there,
No.
I had a criminal trespass.
How long was your great-grandson with your grandson? Until when?
April 23rd.
Is that when a court granted you temporary conservatorship of the boy?
Yes, ma'am.
And how often does your husband see the boy?
Every other weekend.
Okay. Now, tell me what happened with all this property.
Okay, well, when we lived in Cleveland, Texas, when she lived with us...
we lived together.
We...
Don't interrupt her.
We did not get along because...
I don't care why you didn't get along. I'm asking you what happened to the property.
She moved out. She left it all there. She said she didn't want it. You know, we could have it. Well, of course, you know, we took everything that was in the house to our apartment because it was given to us. It was ours. Then me and Andy were not getting along, so he went to his grandma's. Well, I went over there, and he told me he was going to take off with my son. I was never going to see my son again. So I went to go get a lawyer. I came back. He told me that I could come in to see Josh in her house. So I did. As soon as I went into the apartment to go see my son, she was standing out there and she waved the cops over as soon as I walked in. Well, the only thing that I wanted to do was get my son and get out of her apartment, go back to my apartment, which is just right across the way. Anyway, well then she told the police officer that I had hit her. I never laid a hand on her. Never.
What'd you go there to take your son for? I thought you went there to visit with him.
Well, I wanted to take my son out of her apartment and go into my apartment, and he wouldn't let me. He wouldn't let me leave the apartment and go back to my apartment.
With your son?
With my son, exactly.
Well, but you had no right to him at that point. You had no more right to him than your husband had.
Well, I mean, the only thing I wanted to do was just go into my apartment instead of stay there with her.
No, you wanted to take your son.
Well,
do you understand? You
yes,
went there under the pretext of coming to visit him, but it was your plan to go and take him, and then take him into your apartment. That's what you just said to me.
No, ma'am. I just wanted. The only thing I asked Andy is that if I could visit him, that I wasn't going to go nowhere with him, that I could just visit with him in my apartment instead of being there in her apartment.
Yeah, but you didn't intend to give him back.
I wasn't going to take Josh nowhere.
No, but you weren't going to give him back. You were going to keep him in your apartment.
Well, Andy could have, come over there or whatever. I didn't
Right.
care.
I got it. Now, when you left, what arrangements did you make to get your things?
As soon as I could replace it, I wanted my things back.
What happens if she can't replace them?
Well, I'm sure they could, one piece at a time. Your Honor, why would I at my age, walk out of a house with a chair and a bed, you know, after I'd worked so hard to get all of it.
I don't know. When you moved back to Texas,
and I have copies of pawn tickets where she pawned my stuff.
Did you pawn some of her property?
The movies were mine and Andy's. The VCR Andy had before we got together, and it was Andy's. And the only reason that I had pawned anything because I had to get a lawyer so I could get my son back, because Andy took my son and was gone for 6 weeks and 5 days, and I had no idea if I was ever going to see my baby again.
What does that have to do with my furniture?
Okay. Where are the 3 end tables?
I don't know what she's talking about there. I have no idea.
Is there a king-size bed?
There was, and when Andy come and got the kitchen table and his TV, he threw the bed in the dumpster.
Because there were men's underpants laying on top of the bed and men's shirt on the floor. There were stains on the bed, and I said, I don't want the nasty thing. Throw it in the trash.
You're talking about the mattress?
Yes. So we threw it in the trash.
Okay. Well, then you can't get reimbursed for it.
Well,
you threw it in the trash.
It wasn't that way before, Your Honor.
Who knows? You haven't seen it for a year.
I saw it before Andy left, and I know it wasn't that way. And I know there was men's underpants and his clothes laying on it that weren't my grandson's.
You can't become emotional about that and expect to be reimbursed for it.
That's fine.
Ms. Terrell, the truth of the matter is, you said to both your grandson and his wife, take this furniture, use it for as long as you need it, as you can replace it. If you said that, as you can replace it, I would like it back.
Yeah.
But there is a strong likelihood that they could never replace it, and you are not going to see this furniture again.
Well, I'm sure sooner or later they
Well, sooner or later,
it.
then you get a mattress back that's a little bit stained.
Not from other men.
You don't know that. Did you do a DNA test on the mattress?
No, it certainly wasn't Andy's underpants.
So we don't know
that.
So we don't know that, and I'm not testing your grandson's bed either. That's not my job. All right. You have her couch and you have her recliner. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
She has the rug. It was in Rhonda's house the last I heard.
Who's Rhonda?
This lady standing right here.
You have her rug?
Yes, ma'am.
What are you doing with her rug?
Well, I thought it was Love's, and she told me I could borrow it.
Is it in good shape?
Yeah.
Right. Fine. So we have your rug, your couch, and the Lazy Boy recliner. Those are really the big items here.
All the movies, Your Honor.
Oh, I'm not going to go into 104 movies. I don't know why you would leave them with 104 movies anyway.
Well, because they didn't have cable. They didn't have anything.
Give them one at a time. Give them one at a time. I cannot be a divorce lawyer because he's not here, and I can't question him as to whether or not... What?
He sent a number if you'd like to call him.
I'm not calling him. I'm not doing your evidence for you.
No, his lawyer, really, Your Honor, his lawyer advised him not to be here.
Well, that's fine.
So
I
not
have to
to
take
argue
things
with Love.
So I have to find things here that everyone almost agrees on, and that is a couch, a recliner, and a rug. Those things I know about.
Vacuum cleaner.
You were without a vacuum cleaner for a year?
Until I bought another one.
Well, so you have one.
It was a brand new one she took.
No, you gave it to the kids to use.
That's
to use.
Not giving. I love
No,
it.
you. I got you. Ms. Terrell, I'm following where you're coming from, madam.
Well,
I don't think
ma'am,
you're
I didn't
following
give it
where
to
I'm
her.
coming from.
Yes,
Where
ma'am.
I'm coming from is I have children and I have grandchildren, and if you have extra stuff, even if you have stuff that's not extra additional, you say, you don't have anything, kids, here, use this. If you can replace it one day, terrific, I would like it back. Because there's no bargaining
But you
with
don't
children.
Let it go on forever. Till it's worn out,
Sometimes
then
you
they'll
do.
give it back.
Sometimes you do. And Ms. Terrell, I'm going to tell you this. In my view, if your grandson left, set up an apartment, had been awarded permanent custody of his child, and needed the couch and the recliner and the rug and the vacuum cleaner, and brought it to his house, you would not be standing here today.
Yes, ma'am, I would.
No, you wouldn't.
Yes, I would.
No, Ms. Terrell, you would not. What I'm doing is I'm directing you within 5 days. The couch, don't make any additional stains on the couch. Don't vandalize it in any way. The Lazy Boy recliner and the rug, which is to go back to her house, post haste. 5 days. The court will draft an order.
How about my end tables and so forth?
She doesn't have them. She doesn't know what you're talking about. Listen, you never know what's going to happen in the future. You have every confidence that your grandson is going to get custody of his child. That may happen. It may not happen. All I'm telling you is don't antagonize this situation any further, because it's nice to have a reasonable relationship with the custodial parent of your grandchild or your great-grandchild, And to make a big deal over 3 end tables at your stage in life is nothing short of being very short-sighted. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out. Yeah, this is case number 172 on the calendar in the matter of Acetella versus Hire.
Thank you.
Uh-huh. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated. Folks, have seats, huh?
Miss Acetella, you had a boyfriend with whom you lived for about 9 years, according to your complaint. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
What was his name?
Leo McCullum.
And you used to be married to Mr. McCullum, is that right?
Yes, it is.
When were you divorced from Mr. McCullum?
In 92.
And you have children with Mr. McCullum?
Yes, I do.
How many children do you have?
I have 4 of my own natural children and 1 that I raised from his previous marriage.
Did Mr. McCullum ever have custody of his children?
Yes, at one time, yes.
When he was living with the plaintiff?
Yes, part of the time. Since 96, he had custody.
Which child or children lived with you?
Danielle, Samantha, and Joanna.
So 3 of the girls lived with you. Now, according to your complaint, Mr. McCullum attempted to murder you by pouring lighter fluid on you and setting you on fire. Mr. McCullum is currently incarcerated, serving a term of 30 years to life. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
How long were you hospitalized?
A total of 4 months.
While you were in the hospital, it is your claim that the defendant came to the home that you had shared with Mr. McCullum and took all of the property out of the house.
Yes, ma'am.
When you returned home, there was very little there.
I never returned.
Did you ever go back to see what was in the house?
No, ma'am.
Well, how do you know she took your property?
This is my witness. I'd like for her to come up, please.
Okay, well, we may not even have to get to your witness. Mrs. McCullum says that all the property that was in that house belonged to her former husband, and she was entitled to take it. Is that right?
No, Your Honor. I never took anything from the house other than my children's belongings. And I have my daughter, Danielle, who lived at the house at the time that this terrible thing happened. And she can verify as to what Mrs.
So it's
Costello.
your position that you took nothing from the house except your children's clothing?
That's right.
Okay, now I'll hear your witness. So would you step up, please? Tell me your name.
Terry Way.
Miss Way, tell me what you know about the plaintiff's property.
Well, I know that they lived together for almost 10 years, and they acquired furniture. She had jewelry. She had her clothing.
Did you ever see the defendant take any furniture from the house?
I did not actually see her take it, no, ma'am.
So how do you know she has it?
I went there 3 days after she was in the coma to get her belongings from the house and saw that the house had already been ransacked. And there was only 3 people that had keys to the house. Leo, who was in jail, Piper, who was in the coma, and the children. So the children, maybe Paula, I didn't see them actually take it, but they're the only ones that had access to the house to get those belongings.
Did you have to use a key to get into the house?
I didn't actually get into the house. I saw it through the windows.
Did you try to get into the house?
Yes, I did.
Was the door locked?
Yes, it was.
What floors could you see from the window where you were looking?
Mostly the living room and the kitchen.
And had you been to the house before?
Yes, I had.
So what kind of furniture had been there in the living room previously?
There was a couch and a love seat, a dining room set. That's all I can think of at the time.
And all of that was gone?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I'm with you, Miss Hire.
Okay. First off, I'd like to call my daughter Danielle for a witness. The first time we were allowed into the home, I wasn't even allowed. It was still under crime scene by the police for at least a week. The second day of this, I had to go by the home to have my daughter go in and pick up some medicine. She was escorted in by the police. At that time, I wasn't able to even go into the home.
And what about the third day?
I have no idea on the third day. They were going to contact us. I forget the detective's name at the time where we could go in and remove the children's clothes.
We've underlined the 2 sections that apply.
Well, this is a copy of a newspaper article. This indicates that Mr. McCullum at some point was free on bond of $300,000. So he was freed awaiting trial for a period of time?
Yes, ma'am, almost a year.
When was bail set?
Bail was set, I believe, at the time that he was arrested, but between his attorneys, they wanted it reduced, but our side said no.
Doesn't make any difference. He was free on bail.
Yes, ma'am, but that happened 3 weeks after. He was in jail for 3 weeks before he was released on bond. And I have another article here that talks about the belongings.
I'd like to read that too. The defendant says she doesn't have them. I don't know whether she has them or not, but there has to be some proof that she has them, because there are possibly other explanations as to what happened to the property. I'll get to that in a minute. What's your name?
Danielle.
Danielle, did you originally lie to the police about this fire?
Yes.
You originally lied to the police and told them that your father was nowhere around. Is that right? That
No.
Danielle McCullum said that she was standing 5 feet from her father and O'Neill in a neighbor's yard when the woman burst into flames. She said she didn't see a lighter in either of their hands. Later, she said she originally told the detective she had been in her room when O'Neill caught fire. She told the jury Wednesday she lied because she was scared.
That's
right?
true.
So why would I believe anything she says?
Ma'am, I never got a phone call. I never got a card asking how I was doing or anything. Nothing. After 9 years.
After 9 years and 3 of the children living with you?
Yes, ma'am.
Well, they must not be very nice
I had
people.
my very bad faults, but after
Brenda,
that.
she drunk.
Excuse me? Listen.
She was an alcoholic.
Well, there
Just
had to
out
be
of
some
Sigma
reason why,
House.
listen to me, madam, she may not be perfect, but there had to be some reason why your 3 girls chose to live with their father instead of you. There had to be some reason.
There is. I was incarcerated.
Well, that's a very good reason.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Piper Acetella says her ex-boyfriend's ex-wife, Paula Heyer, ransacked her home and stole her belongings. Piper says the theft occurred while she was in a coma.
She says it wasn't her. It certainly wasn't you. That leaves old Leo. Now, what could Leo have done? Could Leo have given his attorney the key to the house and said to his attorney, in case she makes it, I don't want her to have anything? He could have done that. Maybe even sent it over to her house. Who knows? Anybody who was crazy enough to do what he did could do anything. And clearly, if he was out on $300,000 bond, he had some money. Where did he get the money from for $300,000 bond? From his parents.
Oh, yeah.
So he could have given his parents the key to the house.
They weren't there yet.
They're out of state.
Doesn't make any difference. Gotten it to them, said one way or another, you get into that house and take everything out of that house. I don't want, in case she gets better, I don't want her to have a thing.
Can she explain about Nancy, the woman that actually saw them taking the stuff in?
Well, I would like to hear a witness if you have that witness. Where is that witness?
She was reached by telephone, but apparently she couldn't make it here.
Why? Who is she?
She's Leo's cousin's wife.
She came to see me in the hospital quite frequently while I was waiting for her to come out of her coma.
Well, why can't she be here?
She said that she would be here, but she had to talk it over with her husband, and we think that when she did that, and since he's related to Leo, that they didn't want her to show up here because it would be a plus on her side. So she never did return the calls after that.
Do you understand my problem? Yes. What?
I know where the furniture went.
Well, then let me hear you.
Okay. Leo's brother, McCullum, had put everything into storage because the landlord had got a hold of him stating that he was going to trash anything and everything that was left in the house because the rent was due. So he took the stuff from the house, put it into storage. I have the receipts where he paid storage for 10 months.
And when was that done?
Just a second. Here we go.
I was never notified.
Okay, so Leo's brother?
Yes.
Leo's brother took the stuff and put it in storage?
Yes, which he paid storage on for 10 months before he took it out.
Well, where is it now?
It's at his residence in Ozark, Missouri.
Your Honor, I was never notified.
In regards to the contents of Leo McCullough's household goods, McCullum removed and put in storage in August of 1999. I kept it in storage for 10 months, which then I moved some of the property into storage in my house. Let us make copies of the storage receipts. Let us make a copy of this before the plaintiff leaves today. Now you know where your stuff is. You know where your furniture is.
Maybe the furniture, but my clothes, I mean, they had a habit of stealing stuff out of my closet.
I know, but you can't prove that. We're talking about major stuff now. I mean, I can't say whether they took your clothes, whether they took your shirts, whether they took whatever. The brother went into the house, according to his own letter. He went into the house. That's what I said. I said, so he could have turned this key over to a relative, to his parents, to his brother, and said, get it out of there. I don't want her to have anything, because I'm going to spend the rest of my life in jail anyway. Hopefully.
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 I'll be there to see it.
Right. So, here's this. Try again. Wrong defendant. Got it? Make sure she gets that. Thank you very much.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
I'll be there to see this man in prison for the rest of his life, and I will.
She didn't never work. She didn't pay for the booze she drank every day. She didn't pay for anything. Nothing in that house was hers.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Bloom parent versus parent. Step forward, please.
57-year-old Shirley Bloom and her daughter, 23-year-old teacher Terry Parent, are suing Shirley's son, 21-year-old plumber's assistant Jess Parent, for an unpaid loan to keep him out of jail.
According to your complaint, there came a time when your son was facing a prison term, or facing jail, unless he could come up with some money. You took out a loan so he would have the money, but you needed some collateral, and the only collateral that you had was your mother's car, which you did put up as collateral for this loan. Your brother hasn't paid back the loan. What was he facing jail about?
It was for deferred adjudication, and he had hot checks.
A deferred adjudication, which means if he paid back the money, he wouldn't go to jail.
Right.
Okay, and how much money did he have to come up with?
Altogether, it was like $1,900.
So did he come to you and ask you for the money?
Actually, he came to my mom.
What did he say to you, Miss Blum?
He told me that if he didn't have this money by this certain time, that his probation officer, when his probation was off, that they would automatically give him a year. And if he went to jail, then he would go automatically to prison.
You then spoke to your daughter?
Right.
I used my mother's vehicle. It's a '97 Kia Sophia, and got the lease and the amount of money I needed.
And what were the monthly payments on it?
Every week it was $38.72. On March 23rd, 2001, I paid the loan off, which he didn't help me other than maybe, what, 6, 7 payments of all?
$871 he gave you back.
I had to pay off the loan, which was $1,987.22.
Okay, let's hear from you.
I disagree with everything that was just said, because I'd give my mom money to the fact that if the baby, my sister's baby, needed something, I'd give them some money. Every time I got paid, I'd give them some money.
That's not
true.
true.
To help
That's
them out.
not true, Jess. You know that.
I mean, anytime they needed help, I would help them out. And I mean, it's just been going on like this since I was little. I mean, she's been wanting money. I mean, I had a job.
Let's go back.
Okay.
You faced a term of imprisonment on a deferred adjudication. You had to come up with some money, all at one time. Did you ask your mother for the money?
No, ma'am. It wasn't that much.
Just a second. Okay. Did you discuss with your mother the fact that if you didn't come up with a bulk piece of money, you were going to go to jail?
No, ma'am. I had a job, and it wasn't that much money. For deferred adjudication, I was not going to, it wasn't having to pay a fine.
Is what you're telling me that your sister never gave you a check to give to the court for fines?
No.
Is that what you're telling me?
Yes.
And that was on or about August of 2000?
Yes. I had a job. I was working.
That's not what I asked you.
Okay.
Are you telling me that you never, in August of 2000, needed a bulk sum of money to pay fines and other bad checks? Is that what you're telling me?
Yes.
What's the name of your probation officer?
Dolores.
What's her phone number?
I have no idea.
Oh, sure you do. You have to call and check in with your probation officer, sir.
I went and seen her once a month. I never had a call and check or nothing.
Does that name sound familiar to you?
Yes, it does.
Do you have the telephone number of the probation officer?
No, I don't. I never got anything like that. He would never give it to me because he didn't want me to talk to her.
Do you have a copy of the check?
No, we just have the copy of the loan.
The agreement, the lease agreement.
And I have, these are checks that I picked up with some of that money for him because he was going to go to jail that day if they weren't paid. And the rest of it I gave it to him to pay his fine.
Well, you certainly made restitution on that date, sir. So that takes care of your argument that you didn't need a bulk of money in August.
I didn't. I had to pay a certain payment before that date.
No, that's not true.
Yes, it is.
Your Honor, why would we get the loan if, I mean, I have my own responsibilities,
What did
more or
you do
less.
with the check that you got for it?
I cashed it and I gave him my mother went and paid off some of his hot checks, which we gave you the paperwork on that.
And the rest of it we gave to him.
How many bad checks did you write?
I wrote, I'd say around 4 or 5.
That's not true.
Yeah.
No, that's not true.
I wrote about 4 or 5 hot checks because I had gotten kicked out of their house. So.
What'd you get kicked out for?
Well, she wanted more money from me, and I only had so much money. I was getting.
That's not true,
I gave
Jess.
her most
That's
of
not-
my check.
No.
Yes, that is true.
I-
Every week when I got paid, I got a certain amount. That's all I would get. I'd give her the rent. I didn't mind paying rent. I don't mind doing that. You know,
Well,
I
how
feel
old are you?
responsible. You know,
How
I'm
old are
21.
you?
I don't mind paying rent at all. That's part of life. You know. But I mean, you shouldn't work all week for just like $50
When you have
a
that
week
many
when you
bills.
give your whole check to your mom. I mean, that's supposed to be your mom, not your money taker.
That's right.
You
And
know?
it's supposed to be your mom.
Don't talk to him.
Your Honor, I keep a diary because he accused me several times of taking his money. He'd give me money, right. By the end of the week, he would borrow it all back. And he'd say, Mom, why don't I have any money? So I kept a little calendar. And every time he got money from me, I wrote it down. And I made copies for you. You want to see them? Showing since the time we had to get him out of jail the first time, which was like almost $700 that weekend, getting him out of jail when he got in trouble, that he never paid back.
You been arrested since, sir?
No, ma'am.
How many times have you been arrested altogether?
I'd say twice.
Yes.
I'd say twice.
Yeah.
I'd
Well,
say.
it wasn't nothing besides traffic tickets. I mean, that's why. I mean, I
And
got.
lying to a judge.
That's why I got. Well, the second time I got thrown in jail for lying to an officer, and the officer came back and put me in jail for that.
Oh, good. And what's next?
And then the other one was for traffic tickets.
And the other one was for bad checks.
No, I never got thrown in jail for bad checks.
No, because Mama helped and paid.
No, because I worked and paid for them.
No,
You got
The
arrested for
loan-
bad. Just a second. You got arrested for bad checks, didn't you?
No, he never
I never
got
got arrested for
Never
bad
got
checks.
arrested
No,
for the bad
because I
checks.
paid him off.
No,
He came
so
to
I
us
see.
whining about
I
he was
see.
gonna
He
go to
was
jail.
on probation for something else.
Right.
Oh. Oh, what? For lying to an officer.
Right.
Yeah.
What'd you lie to him about?
I told him a different name because I knew I had a traffic ticket out.
Oh, so, and that wasn't hard to lie to the officer, was it?
No, it wasn't. but it
Good.
was a
Judgment for the
class-
plaintiff in the amount of $1,987. That's all.
Parties are excused.
Alexander the Great, a legendary conqueror. Early life. Alexander the Great was born in 356 BCE in Pella, the capital of Macedon in modern-day Greece. He was the son of King Philip II and Queen Olympias. As a young prince, he was tutored by the famous philosopher Aristotle, who taught him philosophy, science, politics, and warfare. Even as a boy, Alexander showed signs of brilliance and ambition, becoming king at just 20 years old. After the assassination of his father in 336 BCE, Alexander became king. Many of his enemies underestimated him, thinking he was too young to rule. But Alexander quickly asserted his power by crushing rebellions in Greece and uniting the Greek city-states under his leadership. Conquests begin in 334 BCE. Alexander began his campaign against the Persian Empire, one of the greatest empires of the time. He crossed into Asia Minor, modern-day Turkey, and won his first major battle at the Battle of Granicus. He continued his campaign with remarkable speed and strategic brilliance. At the Battle of Issus in 333 BCE, Alexander defeated King Darius III of Persia. He then marched south and conquered Egypt, where he founded the city of Alexandria, which would later become a major center of learning. Defeating Persia, Alexander pursued Darius into the heart of the Persian Empire, winning the decisive Battle of Gaugamela in 331 BCE. After Darius was killed by his own men, Alexander declared himself the king of Persia. Eastward expansion, driven by ambition, Alexander continued eastward into Central Asia and India. In 326 BCE, he fought the Battle of the Hydaspes River against King Paras in what is now Pakistan. Though victorious, his troops, exhausted and homesick, refused to go further into India. Return and death. Alexander turned back and began his journey home. Along the way, he planned to consolidate his vast empire and integrate its diverse cultures. However, in 323 BCE, at the age of 32, Alexander fell ill and died in the city of Babylon in modern-day Iraq. The cause of his death remains a mystery. Some suggest malaria, others poison or typhoid. Legacy: Alexander never lost a battle. His empire stretched from Greece to Egypt and as far east as India, making it one of the largest in history. Though it quickly fractured after his death, Alexander's influence endured. He spread Greek culture and ideas throughout the known world, a period known as the Hellenistic Age. He is remembered as one of the greatest military minds in history and a legendary figure who changed the course of civilization. Would you like a version of this story for kids, a timeline, or a dramatized retelling?